Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you happen to be in the world. Welcome to tradertv.live. North American stock futures, we're back in negative territory to start initially this morning, but trying to get back to positive right now. We're heading higher, which is good to see, even as we saw some negativity come in this morning, even as the Senate did pass the $1.9 trillion stimulus package over the weekend. It will be sent on to the House, where it's also expected to get the green light as well. This move comes as well as the 10-year Treasury remains in focus. We got up to 1.6 on Friday. We're hovering around that 1.59 area heading into the new week as well. So some of the high-flying growth stocks back under pressure in the pre-market once again this morning. We'll talk about some of the tech names coming up here throughout the morning as well. On Friday, we did see quite the recovery for all three major U.S. indexes. We had the NASDAQ finishing the week down 2.1%. S&P gained 0.8%, and the Dow was the leader overall, 1.8% to the upside. Individually this morning, XPeng shares in focus this morning, the last of the Chinese EV makers to report earnings. The entire group getting a boost off of that. And we'll talk about some reopen type stocks once again moving in the pre-market, and Tesla shares under pressure initially this morning, but trying to rally here as well. It's Monday, March 8th, 2021. TraderTV.live starts now. And there we go. Look at North American markets so far at this point. As I mentioned, you can see the Dow back to positive. The S&P off the lows as well. The NASDAQ lagging all three. Once again, 0.7% still in negative territory. The TSX futures here in Toronto, 0.3% to the downside. Brazil open trading sharply lower right now. Bitcoin up 3.5%, back above 50,000 this morning. Once again, we'll talk about some crypto stocks, and both crude oil and gold in negative territory to start off the new week. Monday. Good morning, guys. It's going to be an interesting day once again. We had that stimulus package passed over the weekend. We did see the 10-year move on that news. Once again, we're coming in again with a little bit higher bond yields to deal with again today.
Yeah, it's the same old. We keep having to talk about those treasuries. Welcome back to this week. Interestingly enough, like you said, Tesla making some moves, trying to get back to that upside. It's worth noting that XPEV has been strong the entire pre-market since I sat down. It actually bounced from negative into positive territory, 5%. Tesla trying to get there as well. There's going to be a lot to cover this week. It's a big one. We have Roblox coming this week, which should be very, very exciting. But we do not want to get past today, where we have a very, very special guest. And I don't know. I'm excited. I'm jacked up, Sean, despite the disappointment that was the dunk off last night.
Yeah, I didn't even watch the dunk off last night, to be honest with you. The wife was watching some Meghan Markle thing, and then I fell asleep, so that was really fun. But okay, we're into one position here, eyes right now. We're already long here, taking a nice little win off that top break right now. So eyes back in play again, long right here, 857 off that break. We just took out a little bit there because it did go against us, about 5-10 pennies. But now we're going to the upside, long eyes, 857, and we're rocking and rolling. And welcome to another Monday. It should be action packed. We also have our Q&A, or Ask Us Anything after the market today. But here we go. Eyes, a nice little win here to start the day, long 857, guys.
Yeah, crazy stock from back on Friday. The volume that thing did, I mean, it has a 13 million share float, and we got up to 300 plus million shares on the day on Friday. So yeah, we'll talk about eyes, Second Sight Therapeutics coming up here. Before we get into things, let's head over to the desk and say good morning to Valeria.
Of this trading day, and please subscribe to our channel and destroy the like button. Take it away, Brendan.
Yeah, let's get it started. We'll jump into what is moving around in the pre-market here a little bit, guys. We'll talk about eyes coming up, but I want to get back into some of these reopen type trades. We saw, the airlines, we saw the cruise lines moving around throughout the week. Last week, everyone with an offering, it seems like. American Airlines out this morning with an offering, senior notes, so a little bit further out as far as the debt is concerned. But we're seeing some selling pressure for the first time in a couple of days here on some of these travel stocks.
Yeah, and I'm going to apologize on my chart here. If you see a few symbols and all at the beginning of the alphabet do not have a percentage change move, But you actually can see if you go here, we're actually trading right at the end of Friday afternoon's range here, guys. So we did close out right around that 2040, and we're basically flat on the session here. So I know it's a little bit deceiving to have a look, and it is absolutely sort of correct here. This story, and if you look at the sell-off that happened on Friday, certainly some of these reopened names were heavily involved in it. It tended to be the more high-flying names like that AAL. It's in that buzz. It's in that buzz ETF, which we've been following as well. I think that's why it was under a tremendous amount of pressure. Good on them for raising more capital. It makes a heck of a lot of sense to do. We've talked about this specifically with the airlines before, that it's more the sort of domestic travel that I think is going to open up a little bit better, and international will likely be a little slower, and that's why we've leaned to some names other than American Airlines here. But it is set up at least decently nicely for a potential, at least on the day trade, a break of 2060. And there's some talk of that we could actually be maybe a little bit done, and I shouldn't say done, done's not the right word, but a little bit done with some of the risk in the market, and that there could be a little bit of rebound. I tend to be on the cautious side, thinking there is some room to go down. But you have to look somewhere for some of these bounce plays, and for the reopen, the airlines have been it, and AAL is a name that everyone seems to want to be watching here, and I have that 2060 written down.
Yeah, we've traded. Yeah, I mean, AAL is a good one. I like to look at CCL. That's just one of my favorite ones to trade as well. And look at this. Look at these whoosh bottoms that we had, man, on Friday. It was an unbelievable tank downside. It just, to be able to pick up some of these. You could look at anything. I tweeted out my Square trade, and there was a whole bunch of them right here at about 11:15 or so, 11:30 on Friday, where the market went absolutely insane to the downside, and a lot of stocks ticked a low that I hope we don't see again, but who knows if that's going to happen. We may see it today. CCL right here, I like this break. It's going to happen soon, man, 26.63. But this eyes is now through $9 eyes. So eyes, we have a nice little long here through 8.50. So a nice little 50-cent win here to start the day. So we'll already get the hot dog cannon going. Just watch out for your face. You don't want that to get you slapped right there. There it goes. See you with the hot dog, but a nice little win with eyes. But yeah, CCL, AAL will be on Watch Today, folks. Show.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see some of these airlines trying to get back into positive territory here. Let's bring in Mark Roberts, president of Sunlink Strategies, get his take on Monday trade action. Interesting start to a new week. Good morning, Mark. Good to see you once again. Let's talk first, general big picture, kind of idea here. We get the 1.9 trillion, it's hard to even say that, stimulus bill passed over the weekend. Is this a problem going forward as far as inflation is concerned?
I think most definitely. The question is going to be when. I called quite a few friends over the weekend. I was very interested to see what they thought of inflation, and everybody complained at the supermarket. They're paying substantially more. Gasoline has gone from $2.25 the last few weeks to $2.95. It sounds like inflation to me.
Yeah, and especially on the retail side of things, I was at the grocery store on the weekend and had the same reaction to a few of the prices that I was seeing. Is there a trade there when it comes to, we talk about these reopening stocks all the time. Is there a trade there on the retail side of things?
Well, it's interesting. Last time this happened, I remember companies, for example, that made Oreos. They used to put, let's say, 50 in a bag, and then they put 42. Everybody played with their weight, not to have to charge the consumer more. I think this time it may be a bit more of a problem, but stocks like Conagra and some of the other food people have said they're going to hold off pushing prices higher for the consumer as long as they can, as their raw materials start to increase in price.
Let's talk about General Electric here as well. It's been a quiet, it's obviously not an exciting trade to begin with, but it's been a quiet gainer over the past week or so as some of these other high-flying tech stocks and growth stocks remain under pressure. What are your thoughts on GE?
Personally, I think this is a buying opportunity on any weakness. I'm looking for about $17 on the move. But you may see 30, 40, 50 cent drops periodically, but I think that's where you pick the stock up. And I think if you're patient, you'll see 17.
Saw news from Tesla this morning as well with, I mean, it's kind of quiet under the radar, but this big giga battery, I guess is what they're calling it, getting connected to the grid in Texas to try and help out with some of the power issues down there. Is there more to come on that end of the thing, that end of the scale for Tesla?
Yeah, I think Mr. Musk is going to try to do everything he can to give his company that added brand. But at the moment, he's under pressure from too many funds that own his stock that are getting either redemptions or other pieces of bad news where liquidity becomes a problem. So it's not about Tesla, it's about the holders of Tesla.
Yeah, 27 billion I read on the weekend he lost last week. So, I mean, it's hard to feel bad for Elon Musk, but still, that's a big number to swallow over time. When it comes to anything else as far as excitement is concerned this week, Mark, where's your focus going to be going into Monday?
Personally, what I'm doing is I have high price offerings in some of the tech stocks. They had some nice runs, and I have some low bid buy orders in more of the mundane names like CVS, Marriott. Basically, we'll call them peripheral COVID plays. Marriott a reopening, CVS gets much more involved in the vaccination. I still believe there'll be a booster, at least one, if not two boosters into the next 2 years. So a CVS and a Walgreens play a big role.
Thanks a lot, Mark. I think you definitely gave one of those names last we talked to you, and I know Marriott was one of them. And certainly, we talk about, and I was going to talk about Caterpillar, and maybe we'll do that in a second because you've already seen like decent run-ups here, and sort of you have to ask yourself. Everything participated in that pullback, some of the sharp sells that we did see, right? So, of course, tech was leading the way, but you did see some interesting dips. So when it comes to some of the, I guess, reopen and also cyclical names, how do you play entering into them? Because I think everyone's sort of telling you, hey, if you like a certain tech stock or something in that high-flying space, just patience, 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 only buy on dips, yada, 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 5%, whatever it might be. But when it comes to something like a Marriott, and I was looking at Caterpillar, when you're a little closer to the top and there's a little bit more strength, what's your approach here on how someone would build a position who isn't into something like this name?
Let's do Caterpillar very quickly. If you look at Caterpillar, it had made a nice breakout to that 211 area. The dip back on the lows 2-3 days ago is 212. So I would have looked for somewhere between 210, 212 to be buying Caterpillar on some kind of a weakness.
Yeah, and there you go. And I think it goes a long way because often we'll talk about some of the stocks that we might like, and we think this is an interesting play here or there, or this is the reason why this business should do well. But sort of getting into position, because this is a trading show. You have people that are looking for swing positions. You have traders that are looking long term. It becomes important to know how to nibble into a few names. One more thing that I want to get out of you here, because I've noticed something, and it's mostly because I tried to bottom pick on Tesla a couple of times last week and got, I'll call it gracefully jiggled out at the bottom is the best way to put it. But then after the fact, there were excellent long opportunities that were still there. I mean, I'm talking trailing by seconds and maybe even like minutes in things like Square and other names which did have bounces, guys. So my question is, because you said it's more about the money coming out of Tesla, at times it's felt like it's a bit of a leading indicator on these bigger moves. Is there any truth to that? Because it's something I've anecdotally noticed in the last few sessions that I'm going to start paying closer attention to.
Well, I'll give you a little bit of my, my wish list. I wish it wasn't, but it is. If you look at ARKG, ARKK, and the like of the Cathie Woods ETFs, when you see them turn in afternoons, perhaps after a redemption or margin calls, which are usually around 2:30 and also probably around 11:30 in the morning, and you see those turn, those are the points where you can go into the Teslas and the like because the pressure is off. she owns so many of these stocks, as does Ron Barron and the rest of them, that these are indicators for traders. If you're careful and you have enough screens you can watch.
Yeah. And to your point there, just so everyone can see, I mean, that bottom on Friday was quite literally, bottom wick was at 11.29. So as you mentioned, that 11.30. Ron Barron getting out of Tesla, well, at least a little bit here. And we're talking about a little bit of strength coming back. Well, I shouldn't say a little bit of strength coming back into it, but Tesla's actually up like $20 pre-market here. You did have not great earnings by XPeng. And they're up 4 or 5%. Now, the EV space, for multiple reasons, whether you want to talk about the whether it's valuations that you want to get into, or we can talk about the chip shortage being a little bit of a factor as well. And now there's some concerns about infrastructure and how that would slow growth for the next year. Pick and choose. The entire space has come under pressure lately. So when it comes to Tesla, is this feel like a bit of a fake out that we're holding flat, or that even that an XPeng can be up 5%? Is that a sign that there's a temporary bottom that's maybe come in?
Yeah, but be careful, because if you have 1, 2, 3, 4 point profits from a seasoned trader like myself, I take the profit. Yeah. I'd rather wait. A perfect example, if you look at a chart, AFRM, Afram Holdings. Tons and tons of buyers bought it on the IPO. All I did was listen to traders last week who still held this and bought more of it. And all of a sudden, when it turned, it turns. Now the question is, where would you buy more of this? Well, here's a perfect case where traders are caught because they added to position because of momentum. You have to stay alert and avoid momentum situations like that.
Yeah, I think that's absolutely perfectly said, and very well said there. Because I mean, a firm is probably not the only recent IPO where you could make that case for. But I was looking at XPeng, I'm saying to myself, how could you? You look at it down around that 20 when it got to that 25, and that seemed like, man, if it got any lower than that, the floodgates would open up. And NEO also trying to make that little bit of a base. And if those are going to recover, there's so much room anyways that, like we always say, patience can be the name of the game. Mark, it's always fantastic to have you on. Thank you for spending a little extra time here. I know we had a lot to go over. But best of luck trading today and the rest of the week. Can't wait to talk to you again on Wednesday.
Have a great day. Thank you so much.
Bye, Mark.
Thanks so much. Again, Mark Roberts, president of Sun Lake Strategies. Let's have a look, guys, at what is coming up at 11:35. First of all, Eastern this morning, we're going to get into our members Q&A. Once again, guys, if you haven't done so, make sure you sign up for that. It's $4.99. You can ask us whatever you want for 45 minutes. We'll take as many possible questions as we can for 45 minutes. Again, Arun joining us for this week's edition of the members-only Q&A. So make sure you stand by for that. Sean, how is eyes going?
Up.
Let me see. All right. All right, 9:30. Yeah, it's actually going pretty good. So we just dumped a little bit there. We actually were lucky enough to get out at some of them anyways. But each one of these is about 5% or so upside. So we only have 15% left. We're pretty out of it. 9.50 was my best out. And again, look, this is how I continue to trade. We get some out at 9 as it approaches. A lot of them out at 9. Breaking through 850, gets them out at 9, took them out at 9.25. I trade the quarters, right? So 9.25, a couple outs, then we sit there at 49 and get out. And now, Brendan, you brought it to my attention that we had the high of basically 10, 990 on Friday. So we'll look to see that. But yeah, we're pretty much out of it. It's a big win there. So we'll spin the money to start the day off, and we go one for one with a big winner there as we take eyes. And again, second day play, third day play, eyes has been pretty hot for a while. So thanks for checking back in on that. You did see some big moves. I mean, this was only $1.51 or so back on Thursday. A big move there up to 10, like you mentioned on Friday. And then now today, we'll see what it can do. I don't want to hold this. So That's why we're been getting some out. I like eyes. I don't know if I'd take it now, but hey, a breakthrough 950 could get this thing to 10, and then we see what happens. Hey, what's up, Marcelina? There she is. So Marcelina there, one of our guest traders of the day on Friday, now a member. So what's up to Marcelina? Thank you for becoming a member there, and you were fantastic on Friday. And we may have, we're going to have a guest trader here today from Day Trade the World, but we may have some more coming up soon. So stay tuned if we reopen up that segment once again.
Yeah, very special guest coming up later on in the show, guys. Stick around for that. We're very, very excited in studio as well, so it's going to be a little bit different. Upgrades and downgrades for today. Some interesting ones on here. Target, we mentioned some of the retail names last week getting the reopen type of trade. Peloton, Microsoft. On this side, I mean, American Tower was up significantly last week. SeaWorld as well. Again, some of the reopen names, but on the downgrade side. But Target, guys, 1.25% here in the pre-market.
Yeah, Target's definitely been, look, it's been a strong play, and we've had that conversation, the whole Target versus Walmart, and I know Mark, the stock father himself, falling on the other side of that one, and rightfully so probably. Peloton's the other name that you saw up there, and look, you can talk about the V that we saw on Friday, and that was absolutely unbelievable, but you start to look at a price like this 107, 108 area on Peloton. There's a lot of chop in this range, and if we're going to get some kind of a bounce back to the upside, that 950 approaching very quickly here, Sean. If we're going to get some kind of a bounce here possibly in the market, it's worth noting, you look at these stocks that made previous lows back in like November, like a Peloton. It's already bouncing off it, looking to try to break back out. You start to file away that if we're headed upside, what are the beat up names that you actually want to make a play in if we get some of these up days coming through the market? And I'm not saying today necessarily will be one, but you get an upgrade from Peloton. I like that 108 area, but it's got to bust through that chop zone, 108 to 110. If we get through there on Peloton, that could be all systems go for a long trade. So I want to foul that one away. Target's already been strong for a while now.
Yeah, no, I mean, Target's been a good one. Walmart's been beat up, and we're just going to wait to see what the market wants to do. The NASDAQ today, I woke up and I tweeted, and again, guys, thank you for very much for all the love here on the tweet. Over 66 likes here. Woke up this morning and it was pretty, 4:25 a.m. Like, what am I doing? We'll have to get shopping list out again here, right? And so I think that was a good name there for Peloton. I like AMD. I think that you have to nibble in that. I've been nibbling in AMD. I've been nibbling in Square. You guys know that. So yeah, some little pickups there. We don't have the right price as of Friday's close, but we are down just a little bit. Or are we down at all? Maybe where the close was. Yeah, just a little bit here. We could take out some of these 78, 79 levels. So I like AMD. Obviously, I like Palantir, but we'll talk about that in a minute. And then a big one that I was noticed, it's on our watch list today, GE. Wow, 14 and change right now today. So GE just rocking and rolling. We're long this name from $10. So this has been quite an outperformer on the year. And again, that's in our note. You can see just from January. I mean, here's Jan 1, basically, actually January 1's down here. $10 to 14, so 40%. From GE in just a couple months, so that continues to work. As industrials, you talked about Caterpillar there with Mark Roberts. They're pretty hot fire right now. So yeah, really excited to see some of these as eyes there. This is why we get out, man. Eyes coming right back through 9 again. It does test that 950. Now it's coming back in. Watch out for the volume.
Couldn't do that at 10. You got to be kidding me. I was waiting for 10 on that one to try.
Yeah, I went to 960 only. Yeah.
All right, speaking of the morning note, guys, make sure you do take a second, sign up for the website. No more emails starting today. You got to go to that website and just register with an email, Gmail, any Facebook, whatever you want, and you'll have access to the morning note. We send it out every single morning before we come on at 8:30. Let's talk about what is moving around here, guys, in the pre-market. We'll start with the Chinese electric vehicle makers, XPeng, the last to come out with earnings. Yeah, they weren't great, but we've seen a big bounce here for both XPeng and some of the other names in this group. So do we focus the question on XPeng, or is something else more exciting?
Well, I think you have to start with XPeng, and the only reason why I sort of mentioned like the possible bottom in the EVs is if you sort of think about the idea that you wait for all of them to have the earnings and XPeng's numbers. I mean, look, obviously not that fantastic when you look at it, but maybe it was just waiting for that like overall sell-off to be done. It's like all the bad news for this round is sort of out of it, and then you can maybe catch a little bit of a bounce. Now, on the daily chart, I was sort of saying that it looked a little bit more interesting if we got below that $25 range, and this was that bottom that you had on Friday, because that's where the real run on XPeng started at that 2250. 2250 breaking through, and then race basically never looking back. And now we're bouncing off that number, so it feels a little bit early. It feels a little bit strong, but much like, it's going to look exactly the same as the Peloton chart. And trust me, almost everything is going to look like this in some of these more volatile names. You got the little V shape, and you're right back to both pre-market levels yet on Friday. There was all kinds of chop for the previous session right in through this like 29 to 30 area on XPeng. Now, Tesla's about to and is trying to break through the high now at about a 595. So you have to watch that name as well. But if XPeng can chew through 30 at the open, you're likely to see some run. I mean, there's not much room. There's not much in the way of this stock when you go from like 30 to like a 33, 34. All that said, I still am overall pretty weak on the space. It's entirely possible NIO's going to be the better trade because it tends to have more volume, and we'll never be taking our eyes off Tesla as well.
I want to give a big thank you and a big shout out to some of our new members there. Thank you to Emiliano for joining us up right there. Thank you, Emiliano. And then thank you as well to Dorina. Thank you so much for joining us. We do have our members talk today. Yeah, so I just saw someone there, Steve G. Yeah, you're right. Where was Steve G? There he is. Hey, what's up, Steve G? NIO up $2 in the pre-market. That's exactly what I wanted to look at, right? We've been chasing NIO for a while here. Lost too much money on it a few days and made too much money on it in a couple other days. So yeah, back and forth relationship here with NIO. You see that one fall. I mean, this is the beauty of NIO and why we like to trade it here. I mean, $40 down to 30. Like, this is, I mean, for a $30, $40 name, to drop $9 there in the first hour and a half of trading was quite nice to see. Lots of volatility and lots of movements to the downside with NIO. So if that wasn't a washed out bottom, I don't really know what was there. And it comes all the way back. So basically NIO, talking about some recovery plays there. I think you can get this one. I like NIO. The only levels I really wrote down was to see if we were going to hold something like this, 34, but then the market started to rip. Right, so I made that comment and I put that down on the shopping list here, the sticky notes. I put NIO down there. We have GameStop at 158, but at the top it was NIO. Let's see if it's going to hold this this $34, but it's taken off. So like you just said there, Steve, we're going to have to wait to see what happens. But I mean, taking out the high of Friday could be something in the afternoon. That's 38.50. We did touch as high as 40. I don't know. These might be some shorts here. I feel like there could be profit taking. This was a monster move back up right now. A lot of traders, I think, woke up this morning really upset like I was when you saw how much the market was getting crushed. We thought maybe with the stimulus package going through, we'd have some upside. But right now, NIO, I like it. We'll see if it can hold 34. Yeah, I'd like it to pull back, man. Like 36 is a good long for me. Let's check quickly on the imbalance locator here. General Electric on the upside, CCL. We talked about Carnival. We don't have Fisker on our board yet, but that's it's not moving a lot, but it's moving a little bit. Down, yeah, we don't have the updated price, but Fisker's up a little bit here today from Friday. And look at Fisker's blowout bottom of 19 up to 23. Oh, the name that I picked up, you guys were asking what did I buy there? As soon as the show was over, no word of a lie, I went right over to BFT and I got some at 1270. So I got some like right here on BFT, even lower than this. So nice little movement up to the upside to get 1550. So I think that this was a good purchase for there. And then we'll talk about Palantir coming up very soon, but that's pushing the high as well, coming back to $24, guys.
All right, guys, just reading a note here on this one, Merck, if we can have a look here real quick, guys. MRK, yeah, 2% on the morning here. We're coming up to 74.80. 75, I mean, that's the last kind of consolidation area on the daily chart. So they came out with positive data from their COVID-19 antiviral drug study this morning, guys. This is definitely more volume in the pre-market than we're used to seeing for MRK.
Yeah, usually used to seeing almost no volume on Merck in particular. And look, you can talk about boring stocks, you can say that all you want, but certainly Merck, when it has news, and some of the, and this is not a vaccine, of course, but some of these plays can be interesting for retracements. At least that's my usual opinion of them. But you go to the daily here and you see Merck right into, and we look at these cluster areas on a stock like Merck, when you look at this like 74 to 76, like that's an ugly cluster to try and be looking at momentum through, and this is what it looks like on the 15-minute chart. So you get an extended push into something like that, and I tend to want to stay away from buying into that type of a range. It's definitely in the range of being a possible fade trade, but it's only done 100,000 shares, which is not terrible. That's actually solid for pre-market, but this is more like if an opening. If off the open you catch like a 10-15 minute range and it still hasn't made a breakout, that would be an obvious rollover play for me. But if this was like Novavax, I'd be more interested off of the open for something like this as opposed to Merck for a day trade, which not usually the most exciting of names.
I mean, Merck teamed up with J&J there, so J&J not doing too much either. They're going to get these hundreds of millions of billions. Trust me, billions probably, of doses coming through. So we'll watch J&J today as well, but neither really getting too frisky with me. We're basically, we have 5% left of this eyes trade, so a big trade there. Obviously, we wish we would have got them all out at the top. We're going to wait to see if it breaks back below VWAP and then gets us out of our initial in there. So you could get long right now if you like this 850 level. I don't. We've already played the breakout, guys, and crushed it. So now we'll wait on eyes and more names to come. And if you're not joining us, if you are joining us for the first time, I see some nice comments actually on the chat. We're now with our watch list is now live online, so you don't need to wait for the email to come in. We were having some issues with certain email providers not pushing it fast enough. So here it is: GameStop, Tesla. We haven't even gone over these yet, guys. GE, Palantir, AAL. We went over a little bit, and then a few different ones. There's eyes. Yeah, ignore that. But at the bottom, we do have some talk about our trades of the day. So that's something new that we're doing every day after market. Not today, because we do have our members only ask us anything chat, but yeah, that's going to be fun. Our watch list, Brendan, sign up, man. If they haven't yet, they're definitely missing out. There's a lot of work that you and Valeria put into this watch list, so make sure that you guys definitely check that out.
Yeah, we do your homework for you. That's how nice we are around here. Let's bring in Arun here, guys. Have a look at the overall market. We'll see what levels we need to be aware of on the futures this morning, Arun. Back to the upside here in a big way.
Yeah, it's trending up. It's fairly strong too. So the only level I had up here was the 45 level, the 38.45. Now, if we can get through that, we're 2 points away. If we can get through that, I think it's pretty locked in that we're going to keep on going up because there's not really a whole lot above us until we actually start going towards the highs, which is in the high 60s. So for now, if we can back off from the 45 in below 30, I think you have a potential short there, as long as the 45 doesn't go. If the 45 goes, then I think you really don't have a whole lot to look at in terms of long levels, all the way down till 37.75. That's the level I've got all the way down. If we can enter the 10 mark, so 38.10 going down to 37.75, I'd be looking for some longs if we fell off right now. If we keep on going up, I mean, the 45's gone. There's no trailing levels that I can see that I can work with. So you may just have to wait and see how we play once we get the overnight highs taken out. I'd be careful with the overnight highs too. They are in a certain area, which I would want to wait to see how we play the break if we do take the highs, just because there is some activity from a few days ago that I want to see above that 70 mark. So for now, as long as that 45 holds and breaks 30, then there's a short. But if the 45 goes, I might be in a wait and see mode.
All right, very good. Thanks so much, Arun. We'll check back in again after the show. Keep in mind, guys, Arun going to be joining us for the members-only Q&A. So if you're a futures trader or thinking about jumping into futures markets, swing by our Q&A and ask Arun some questions. Just a heads up as well, some housekeeping, guys. You saw on the chart there, the market's not flat. It's at 0% up 3,800 points. It's obviously, we're having an issue with some data calculating the percentages, so just be aware of that. Let's get on to Tesla. No significant news. I mentioned with Mark Roberts, though, they connected a giga battery through a subsidiary in Texas into the power grid. So Tesla trying to branch out here a little bit into other areas outside of EVs. We obviously know about the solar panel shingles as well, guys. If I had a house, I would be all over that. But Tesla trying to go positive here. Still a little bit negative, though.
In due time with the shingles, it's not quite not quite there yet where you're gonna be saving money. But long term, I think anyone, if you're gonna be in a house for a long time, if it's your like final home, it makes a lot of sense to me. Look, we talked about this with the EV names here, and Tesla trying to get green on the session. Actually, just another push there. We closed just shy of that 600 mark, and feels like that's going to be a bit of resistance. Now, I wouldn't. It's not a line in the sand. It's not an obvious break because we did get there on Friday afternoon and stalled out at 605, and on the way down in the morning, there was a 605 to like 608 area again, which provided some chop and some rough waters to get through. But worthy of noting, for now, they seem to be, I mean, the turn that you just saw here, and I'll zoom in for you guys, the turn that you just saw here at that 598, shy of that 600, coincides with XPeng hitting that $30 mark. So for now, it does seem like these are moving a little bit in lockstep. And we know overall, if we're going to get a bounce back in some of the tech names, in your ARCs and all of that, that Tesla is going to be leading that bunch. So if you're playing over an XPEV, and you're thinking about shorting it, and Tesla breaks 600, I'm just going to say that's probably a bad idea because that 600 is going to be an interesting break for me. I'm like you, Sean. I do prefer trading in NEO, but it's going to be impossible to get away from these two. If there is a big dip in Tesla, look, we can talk about some of the levels from Friday and the absolute bungle that we ended the show with at 540, saying this was going to be the bottom and then not catching it on this particular name anyways. But I think that if there is a dip today, I'm looking a little bit more at like that 560 area. So if you go down to 560 at some point, I don't know if we get to that 540 unless it's a crazy flush. I'd look to see if that wouldn't be a bottom. We're ways away from it now, but I just want to have a little something filed away in case we are negative. But it's 600, it's 30 on XPEV that we're watching off the open here.
Okay, so we already just got long into everyone's favorite name, Palantir. So we'll hit a little backflip here as Palantir back from the dead there. Look at that blowout there, $20. So we back our long on Palantir here, breaking through this 2410 area that was sort of the top before breaking out to 2450 very, very late in the afternoon, breaking out off Friday's bottom there of 20. Absolutely insane bottom for Palantir. Like the fact that you could have picked Palantir up here at 20, I mean, I know some of you did because we were all looking at it. Like I said, I went to BFT. I'm already loaded up pretty much in Palantir, but like to get $20 and then to wake up today and basically have a 20% upside surprise for Palantir. Surprise, good trade there. So I think Palantir continues to go. It's nice to see here. If you look at oil, we don't talk about this enough, obviously on the show. Hard to see there. Go, thank you, Robbie or Lucas there. 0.33 right now. Oil finally, the CL, the contract, starting to go southbound here. So that should ease up a little bit of some of the inflation talk and let these markets start to go. So we'll wait for Palantir, see if we get some out at 25 or 20, like 24, 25 for 15 cents like we always do. And then we'll get some out at 50 and then we'll see what happens on the upside here, 24.60. But we do like Palantir. I think the market's ready to rock and roll right now. So just get ready and buckle up. I mean, that number was good on Friday. I don't think it was good enough to really raise any rates, but we don't know with whatever Powell's going to do. He's not Janet Yellen, so I don't think that's going to come through. I think the rates will stay where they are. And then you get this 610, man, 605. I guess it's 605 on Tesla. Like that's going to be a huge number to break through. This exact top there, yeah, that's the 610. I feel like that's a good little level to go through as well. This market is, I think we'll get back to positive. What we do once we are positive, we'll see. But right now, only down that 0.39. I like Tesla for long. I like everything for long all the time. Oh, another one here. Not all the time. Not especially when the market's tanking. But, remember on Friday, guys, right when the show ended, we called up. Some people were saying, what do we do? Where do we go shopping? Things like that. And DraftKings was right at $55. On Friday. It did tick down to, the low was 54.40. But if you're going to go shopping for something and you are a little, you like to take on a little bit of risk with a high flyer, like when DraftKings touched this 50-period moving average and it was at $55, I quite clearly remember on the show, I was like, guys, start a position. Like, obviously, we would like to get it down to 48, 49 to start a position. But I mentioned on Friday that if you could get DraftKings right here, $55, that was something that we probably should have pulled the trigger on. So right now, another nice little 11, 12% now to the upside on DraftKings. It broke through 60. I loved that 60 break. I mean, look how clear that was right there. That was, again, one of the only names that we had written on our sheet of doom here. DraftKings at the very bottom, 60. It broke through, man, and now it's gone. But that was a level that I like. So congratulations, anybody that was able to pick up some DraftKings on the low side.
All right, Is the other big mover so far in the pre-market here? GameStop, yeah, back to pre-market highs. They're testing here 157.75, 158 area, which was the top end of the range. Bloomberg reporting over the weekend. I feel like we knew this already, but the company's going to lean heavily on Ryan Cohen, Chewy's founder, to transition them into an e-commerce business, entirely e-commerce. They're talking about for GameStop, guys.
I mean, that's been part of the plot line this entire time, right? The expectation that that was going to be true, and I think that's what a lot of the bullish market is. Now, obviously, there's still some aspect of a squeeze going on. You did have a second gamma squeeze, late February there, and that's what you get. I just want to show you the 15 minutes so you can see the entire story, but that's what you get here. And look, it's been incredibly holding some of these highs. Now, are we going to get a break to retest 175, 180? I think I would not short until we got to that price or actually had a bit of a fail. That's just my take on it. But I'm looking at this. I'm looking at this trend. I'm looking at this potential catalyst this morning. And I think you said it here. It's 158 is just the current pre-market high. It also just so happens to be 158, 10% up to that 175 that you have back here, more or less. So I like that price for a breakout trade. Now, I will say this on GameStop, if you take breakouts at 930, sometimes if it comes right back against you, so it gives you like that $2-3 push and comes right back against you, holding on too tightly can get you in a little bit of trouble. So I'll be quick to get out of it if we get an immediate reversal. Like if it cannot immediately push to like a 165 or something like that, it could be a sign that it's a bit of a trap, and then show some patience, because we've seen what can happen with GameStop when it reverses on you.
So I already have the order in here to go long. So if we break through 158, we're going to go long here on a 158 break. I know the spread is big, but whatever. We're just going to see what does happen. And again, you got to, I'll give it back to 150. So let's just see what happens here on a 158 break. I'm excited for it. We are going to be taking GameStop through there. We had lots of different action on this one. We have the Ryan Cohen, more news on him today. And again, if you check it out on our morning movers, you'll see everything that we're talking about right here, GME. So it's right here. It's up 11.9%. You can't see that now because we have a mistake in our data, but there it is. Chewy's founder, Ryan Cohen. So let's see what happens here through some e-commerce. I mean, is it still overvalued? Extremely so, in my opinion, but that's not up to me to decide. The market will decide the price of this thing. So let's see if we can't play with some momentum to the upside as Palantir trying to go again now, trying to get through this 24 and change. My orders are right here, man. We got some at 19, we got some at 24, and then we got some at 50. So let's see if Palantir can't make it a nice little 2-for-2 day here to start. We're long. We're in the money 5 pennies. You can take it out now, but we're not going to do that. Let's see if we get that 24-20 print, guys.
Let's move on to General Electric. Sean, you were talking about GE a little bit already. Quietly outperforming the entire market by a long shot so far this year. 25% to the upside for GE in 2021. 150% since last May. So a huge move back to the upside for GE shares. They do have exposure in multiple areas as far as a reopen type idea is concerned, but very strong. Is there a day trade here, guys?
I mean, it's just the momentum, right, of the industrial sector. We talked about with Boeing. They have a lot of deals with Boeing. They have a lot of deals in the aerospace spot of things. So, the more, it's just like if you like SPR, right? Like you got to have someone, or Magna in the car part area, right? So you got to sort of play some secondary plays. GE does have a lot of exposure. Obviously, they have a lot of exposure in energy as well. So we're just going to wait to see. For a day trade, we're pretty high on GE. Here's a 20-minute, 20 period. 14.13. We're right here. So that's what I wanted to look at. This is the high of GE right now, 14.13. I wrote down 14.10 on a break, but we're going to get there right now. We're still with 20 minutes to go. I love GE. I want to take it long. And again, the thing about it, though, is if the NASDAQ's going to rip, I just think that there's probably better areas to look today than General Electric, just because if the change is going to be over to some of these high growth names, General Electric is not necessarily one of those. It's kind of like the slow and steady, which is why it's done well, just like a JP Morgan and things like that. So just watch out here. It's going to break 14.10 right now, and then we're off to the races. For me, you asked about a trade. I like to see it back here, where we got some consolidation there before a move downside to start off Friday. So 1375 or so is a good spot for GE. We probably don't get there, but if you're going to build a position, I like that 1375 ahead of there, and then you can use 1360 as your bottom. But it looks like we're going to take out the top now.
Yeah, I tend to think that you could see a little bit of a lag if it gets really strong with the tech names. Just want to come to that eyes for a second. It just tried to break through that 950 with a bit of a failure. So I was looking for that 10. If it could have gotten to 10 to look for a bit of a reversal. We still have over 15 minutes to go until the open. So plenty of room for that, into 930 push that sometimes you will see on some of these high-flying names here. Of course, eyes up significantly. If you want to look at the gap. This is sort of a day 2 type of play. It was already moving on Friday, but into this obvious I shouldn't say obvious, but into this $10 level from Friday afternoon or Friday at lunchtime. Looks like it's almost inevitable, but plenty of time for it to get there.
All right, another one we've been talking about already, guys. Palantir Technologies back on the list once again, back on watch again this morning, very active in the pre-market. It's off 45% since the highs we saw back in December, but back to that very, very clear and becoming even more clear of a level on the daily chart on a daily basis here, down around 23 and a half, guys.
Yeah. Look, I mean, you guys know that I love the day trade Palantir, and we're averaged in. Our average price is 16 on the long. I think this is a great opportunity. This is still Fisker chart, but let's see if we can update it. I think it's still a great opportunity to buy some Palantir, but again, it's just going to fall with the market. I like to look at it when the market's rebounding, right? If we can get a rebound in the market, we know ARK Investment is going to be here. Kathy Wood, one of our largest holdings here, Palantir for the long run. Obviously, there's Tesla and there's Bitcoin in that fund as well. But look at this, the 23 level, like you just mentioned, Brendan. I mean, it's going to continue to be something to look at here. I know every dollar on Palantir seems to be some size, so you could protect that. I do want to go long into 23. Let it go if 23 breaks for sure, because if 23 breaks, I mean, we should probably test. Here's 2250, a test. That looks like a good spot to me. The top there, then the bottom there. So, resistance, support for 2250. I don't want to say you're not going to see this again, because we don't know what the market's going to bring, but this was a big, huge move down. And then there's that level that you talked about, Brendan. All of this, like everything in here, 24, 25, 23, like this. Sure, is it hanging around here more than we want? Of course. I mean, anybody that's long wants to see this thing break back above. And we've been saying it forever, that I've been saying that it needs to go above this 29 to get to 30 before we even think about going up here. And I think as soon as we break 30, the next stop is 35 and then 40. So not worried about it, but I'm just worried about getting it to 30. So I think it needs to get up there first. We need to crack this 50 period. But right now it's doing a hell of a job holding considering what the market's doing. So let's just wait to see. It's been a shit show since earnings and since they're allowed to drop the shares. So since lockup, like you mentioned there, Brendan, 45% down. It's been a super hard hold for a lot of people, but again, it hasn't really been that bad in the last week or so. Like the top was 26 and the bottom, forget about this bottom, the bottom right now, 23. So you're in a $3 range there. If this happens, obviously it's a screaming buy, but we got to get above this level right here, 25.65. So for me, there's a day trade today and I'm already in the stock. So let's wait to see. I'm not dumping this long. It's not a big position. We'll wait to average in and then we'll see what happens at 23 even. And then we'll take out the top at 24.50 as well.
I think to remember on the longer term play with Palantir, it spent over a month in its first consolidation off the bottom, and then it spent a couple of months with that same support if you go back into November, December. So obviously we're looking for that volatility, and there's going to be day trades in there, but I wouldn't be shocked if we could be in this price range for a couple of weeks. I'm talking about to that 30 that Sean's talking about.
Just having a look at PayPal here, guys. Just seeing a headline on PayPal. Not much of a reaction, it looks like, but looks like they're acquiring a company called Curve. Okay, so we'll have a look at PayPal. But yeah, there was a volume spike there when that actually hit. As well, let's go over to American Airlines. If you're just joining us and wondering what the heck is going on with American Airlines, they announced a $2.5 billion senior note offering. This is a private offering. These are I believe it was 2026 I saw senior notes for AAL. So here's another one of the travel names out with an offering here. This morning we saw Norwegian, among others last week, doing the same thing.
Yeah, and very slightly up here on American Airlines, actually. Yeah, a couple of percent, really. Of course, our chart's a little bit deceiving because some of these names show you the 0%, but we broke through that 2060, so it's a trade I want off the open. Not necessarily one I wanted in the pre-market anyways, but we are starting to get that little push. I mean, the market heading back upside. I just got into XSPA, and that's another name that's going to be on our watch list, Express Spa, shorting in front of like that high of day. $2 first, then we're going to look at that 215, which is the current top. But AAL, if I can't get a retest of that 2060, I'm probably going to be staying away from it. An obvious level stands out here if there's a flush, because $20, you go back into last week, you're going to see that bottom. There was some consolidation, a few bounces there in the afternoon on Friday, and then it's also the pre-market low. So in the event that we get a collapse, it feels rather unlikely here. I would look to that 20, which could even be like a support on a dip. So AAL is probably the name I'm going to go to in the airline space. 2060 with a break, which could have given you a scalp. Already, I'll look for a retracement into that particular price. And if things go crazy, it's all about 20 even.
I didn't write down anything. I mean, I was crushing CCL last week. You guys know that was my best trade. We took a $2 or $3 winner on this name off this move. I mean, we had this whole move. We were short 27.10, I believe it was. We were short like right here, and then into this move all the way down to 23. I think our best out was like $3 or $4. So we got a lot of this move on CCL. Don't know if it, obviously, if it happens again today, that's fantastic. But look at that, drop down 23.25. Now we're ripping to the high side again. CCL with a nice move up today, man. We closed at 25.60. Well, here, I guess we closed up here. 26.16. You're up about 30, 40, 50 cents right now. Looking to take out 27. Again, we have a data problem with anything until I think it's what? T or something? Or?
It's like A, yeah, the symbol's A to like I or something
A to
like
I,
that.
yeah. So we won't have that for CCL. But I mean, we're not going to see the high for CCL until they start cruising again, I believe, anyways, until they start setting sail. So I don't think we get up to 30. There was a lot of love for that in some of the squeeze plays that did happen the last week. So watch out for that 30 level. I don't think that comes through. But we do have some nice little bottoms here. I mean, it kind of bottomed out a couple times here at 24, 25. So there is something there. I don't know if it's anything for a day trade today. Maybe a 27 break. What was that high? 27.60. So there could be something. I like to watch CCL, so that's for sure. Let's call up the imbalance locator quickly. It's the top two on here, which is why we bring it up. So we've already talked about GE breaking through that 14.10. Damn it, why couldn't that happen 10 minutes from now? And then CCL with a big one as well. And then here's your boy, AMC, starting to get going as well. Now to the upside off this nice little move. This closed 8.05. Now we're up to 8.50. You can see right here on AMC. And then NEO can't get out of its own way again. Still a sell imbalance. So we'll see if we can't pick up some NEO downside around this 36 area. But NEO with the sell imbalance starting to pull off this $38.
All right, real quick, guys, I'll show you the headline here that we were talking about on PayPal. There's no financials on this, but they're acquiring this Curve. It's a cloud-based infrastructure company, Israeli-based, cloud-based infrastructure company. No financials given on that. Let's go on to McAfee, however you want to pronounce it. They have a big deal announced this morning, $4 billion in cash, in fact, for their enterprise business. They sold it to a consortium led by Symphony Technologies, guys. Very, very thinly traded in the pre-market, but we're at recent highs here.
It's to say it's thinly traded is, and sometimes it's important to show you guys what the level 2 looks like, just so you get a sense of it yourself. Now, oddly enough, this is the other reason I want to show it to you. See 2350 here? Yeah, this is what we call an iceberg order. So it's on 30,000 shares, the bulk of which is somebody picking this up here at 2350. I don't think that's short covering, probably a bit of a long, and it's in these nice little 500 share lots over and over and over again. The spread is only 10 cents. But you can see the depth in the book, and this is what a chart looks like, right? So to say that I'm going to be watching that 2350 level is goes without saying, but ideally you'd like to see this hold. 2930 on the open when some more volume will come in, and to be up 11% here, if a level like that 2350 were to go, I'd ideally be shorting through it for momentum. So you hit like a stop order when 50 goes, and you try to get like 45, 46, 47 to the short side on a momentum play. But you do not want that kind of I do not want that type of a trade unless the volume has come in, because there's just not much in the book. I mean, as I look at that level 2, guys, Below that 50, I mean, there's 100 shares at 23 even. There's 400 shares at 22.85. You really have to be very, very careful with any kind of a stop order there. And of course, don't mess around with that 23.50. If you're buying in front of it, it's an iceberg. But if that goes, that could be a floodgate, and it could be down $1 very, very quickly.
Rocket companies here, guys. Rocket companies down that 1.27% so far today, but you know, a nice little rally. They didn't rally. I mean, they rallied about almost 10%, so they didn't get going as much as some other names there off the very bottom of 23 and change. Special dividend coming tomorrow, actually. Holder of shares March 9th will get that, so we'll see what that does to the stock. I think there's a possibility for it to do something. I like Rocket, but it has to break through this 26. I mean, I don't think we do anything like we did last week to get into the mid 40s again, unless some sort of news comes out. I don't know, some sort of a squeeze news again, but it still has a high short interest. But the name, like we said, it's in a sexy space, it's in the mortgage space. So it's not gonna be a huge one there, but a 25 break could give us a little something. So I think we'll take a 25 break into 26, and then we'll see if we can go harder once it breaks through 26. But a 25 break here on Rocket could get us somewhere. That's kind of where we closed on Friday. So let's just see if there is any action here on Rocket companies breaking through 25. I'll let it fall, man. I mean, if we can look, the market will fall. If it does, then we'll be picking up some Rocket. We'll pick up a lot of names on the bottom, hopefully, and hopefully starting to get some shorts. But for right now, if it wants to go upside, a 25 break here for RKT looks pretty solid with only 5 minutes to go. So I am going to put that order in right now to see if we get long through 25 on Rocket companies. I think there's a potential for a monster winner here, and then the loser on the downside isn't so great. Like if I get long 25, then I know that I can dump it, you know, even just $1. That's pretty much worth it. 25 break down to this 24 level looks very, very reasonable to me here, guys.
All right, a few little ones on the list to have a look at this morning. We already mentioned that Second Sight Therapeutics, EYES, EYES, the ticker. If you missed it back on Friday, they announced FDA approval for a visual, an optic prosthetic. So that was the news back on Friday for that one. ANCN, another one popping up here this morning. This is one of those stocks. Every time there's news, it gets, you know, huge move and then comes right back down again. So ANCN is not flat. This is one of those symbols that we don't have data on this morning in the right places. So just watching 550 or 575, I should say, and then 650 at the top of the pre-market range here, starting to work back to the downside here for ANCN, guys.
Yeah, super small one there, like a 3 mil afloat. OPGN, another name, Opgen here. Look, they're up. They got final study results from a diagnosis tool here, and it's only up 16%. So it's not the biggest gap that you're going to see, but I am looking. Obviously, you look at these pre-market levels here, and like the 225 does sort of stand out as a bit of temporary support. It's done 6 million shares, although it's not exactly moving super rapidly. I would prefer to be shorting into the 250 area on any kind of a pop. It has a double top at 270 that gives you a little bit of cover, but for now it looks like even the breakdown at 225 could be the first play to come in. So if we do get a push into 930 or at 930 right when the market opens into 250, you'll see me likely short in OPGN, otherwise looking for a 225 breakdown in that one. XSPA, of course, it's been an older stock that we've definitely been trading, and I said I got into position here in a 198. I tried to pick up some more shares when it just reversed at 2 even, but I didn't want to chase it too far. So if it comes up to the high of day, I don't want it breaking that 213 on me. I'll probably be looking only to add like the 5 or 6 range unless it's post 930.
Okay, guys, good numbers today so far. Thanks for joining us. If it's your first time, we do this for free for you guys. So if you can, just hit the like button, and we'll see if we can rocket up that algorithm. That is the YouTube algorithm there. And if you can get the likes, that would be absolutely fantastic. And we'll see what happens today for us in the marketplace. But over 10,000 watching right now and only 1,300 likes. I think we should be able to get a little bit more of that today. So let's just hopefully this market will rip, and we'll be able to catch some of these longs. And if it goes down, we'll catch some shorts. And if you're here for the first time, hopefully we'll be able to educate you, entertain you, and show you some of these opportunities that we have in front of us today. Square, a nice bounce off that bottom it made just an hour ago of 210 all the way to 217, 218. We know that Square can get real spicy, man. This was one of my best trades on Friday. It brought me all the way back to the promised land, man. We were having a horrible day on Friday, obviously, and then we picked up some Square. If maybe if I can zoom back out here a little bit, you'll see these bottoms, man. We hammered some of these bottoms. It was actually right here, 10.14, 10.15 a couple days ago. And then you're going to be able to see what happened on Friday. These bottoms, 198. This is where we got the longs, 196, 197, 198, closing all the way up here to where we are right now. So watch out for some square bottoms. We're going to average in, like I said, it's a small position here on Palantir. It's coming right back to VWAP. So we're going to take some more shares. And then the idea is to wait for this to see what happens back down through 23. So if you see me in position, that's on purpose. I want to get in, obviously, I want to get into 23, and then we'll dump it if it breaks through 23. If not, let's see if we can't load up and then go to the high side. I'm not letting this happen, and we haven't been caught in Palantir in a long time because we're changing the way we're trading a little bit on this name. So wait for it to make some moves down and then see if we can find a consolidated bottom. So kind of like it was right here. Obviously that swoosh happened, but like that's a consolidated bottom. We'll wait to see what happens around here, 23.20, with only a minute to go. But thank you again, guys. You just doubled us up there on likes, so thank you so much. We were at 1.3 there, now 2.4. Thank you so much for all of that. And we're about to drop this bell, guys. A minute to go.
And this is not the Palantir chart that Sean was just showing, but it's pretty much exactly the same thing with the same perspective. This is NEO, and look, it looks like a carbon copy of it. Look, if we drop into this 36 pre-market lows here, there was a little dip into that price at about just after 2 o'clock, and there was support down there when it tried to break. I'm going to be a buyer on NEO in front of it. Got to watch Tesla, because like we said, that 600 break, yeah, right into that 605, 608 area where it couldn't get through, so a bit of a reversal. And it's because of that reason that I think the dip buy in NEO will be the first thing to come through, especially if Tesla's going to retest. You know, I said 560 on Tesla, but let's watch out for that 585 area as well. On the bell this morning is going to be Miss V, and we'll see if we can't get this countdown right. We've had a couple of bungles with it recently, but I'm watching NEO on the dip. Here it is. It's Monday. It's going to be an exciting week. Thank you guys so much. 5, 4, 3, 2. Oh, NEO dipping already, guys.
All righty, and we are open. So let's see what happens now. Palantir, we took another long right here at 70, so we'll wait to see average into that trade as expected. GameStop moving around as well, not doing a whole hell of a lot, but we are watching GameStop as well. GME as Palantir coming down. This is perfect, not perfect, but we did think that was going to happen. GameStop to the downside, not testing that 140, that 158, guys.
Yeah, unfortunately, we don't get that. We don't get that test on that particular name, but that EYES stock. Now, remember we talked about this 950, 960 area. A couple of times it tested. It just tried to get there off of the open and a bit of a failure. 10 is that high that you want to watch out for on the break. Looks like GameStop could come down through a 150 break, which I didn't think I'd be looking at the short, but I almost got to take it if it goes.
Okay, so everything moving again, obviously. Welcome to us for today. We'll see where we go. Palantir here, an average price of now 24 even. We're just going to keep watching this one because this is sort of as expected. Let's see what happens downside here. We got a bid in the 20s, actually, so we are expecting this to come down, which you're saying, like, why am I holding this? It's not a huge position. Well, I want to see what does happen if and when we come down to this level, which it looks like we are coming down right now to here. So we'll be building in, and then we'll see what happens on a 23 break. But let's start to build this Palantir position right now, guys. 10
break on EYES went immediately to 25. So, I mean, you try the stop order. It should have faded into that one because it immediately goes through. You had no chance to pick that one up. Look, 10 was just absolutely nonsense, guys. If I can get something, and I tried to get like 06s, 07s on the way back in here, but that one is off to the races. From 150 breaking, and I had a short stop order on GameStop, now we're going right back into that 158. So got to go immediately back into this because it looks like we could get the top end break. I thought we'd be shorting through 150. That never happened. 158, that top on GameStop about to come through.
We don't have any eyes, but we did have this one, 850 long side there. We were holding that 5%. It does come back down, and we get out for flat on that last little bit. But oh my God, eyes ripping to the high side there. Okay, GameStop just takes it out, guys. So let's see what GameStop does. We're long 158. Let's go GameStop to the moon here, maybe. We'll see. GameStop long 158. Let's wait to see.
I mean, I'm already in. I'm already out. We're going to go with the quick arrow because it's a scalp break for me. I just took out the last at 162. I like breaks on the even dollar, so if I can get like a 165, 170, I'll just get in again.
Yeah, we love in GameStop right now to the upside. Big time trade for me there on GameStop. We still have some of this. So 164, 165. We gave you that 158, so it's hot dogs for everybody. Hot dogs for you too, Gregory. Over there up to 166, 167. There's that 158 break, man. We were waiting for that. We didn't cancel our order, and it just rips to the moon right there. So take out first half there for $4, whatever, not bad. And then we'll wait to see as the next part ripping to the high side as well. 165 and change it gets going too. Palantir, back down. We'll see if we can't load into that one as well. AMD maybe on an upswing here, $278. Let's see, man. The NASDAQ pulling down, though. Don't hold these longs, guys.
Yeah,
I'm going to hold GameStop, but I'm not going to hold Palantir for too much longer, waiting for that 23 even.
Yeah, I mean, I just said be careful because Tesla, I want to show you here, pulling back a little bit more sharply, and it leads away sometimes. And here is that push back to the downside. I was just watching NIO and canceled some bids to wait for a further dip. Remember I said 585? I mean, if Tesla can hold somewhere at least even close to it, maybe that's a good dip buy for something like an NIO. But that reversal on Tesla was rather heavy. I was going to be bidding 36.50 on NIO. I've moved it back down to this 36.20 area to see if it does want to push further. Brendan?
Right, initial selling here coming in on XPEV, guys. Some of the EV makers headed downside. 29 broke there right at the open on huge volume for XPEV.
Okay, we're into some shares now, boy, into Palantir. So just got to make sure that we have our stop orders ready to go here in case we do break down below. I mean, this market turns on a dime there. We did talk about that early, guys, to watch out and not to get too invested into anything too long here. So now we finally, this is my big trade. You can see now our average price is that 23.50. So it needs to get back upside. We're okay. We're holding 20 pennies against us on Palantir. It's not the end of the world. And this is hopefully the bottom. But we'll wait to see what the NASDAQ wants to do. If it's not the bottom, we're completely fine with that. We are noticing that there's this 23 bottom, obviously, clear as day. We'll get out of that if that does hit. That's why we dump. We dumped 2/3 actually of our GameStop, as now it's coming right back to the downside. So we do got to watch out for this eventual blowout of 148.50, I guess. If it breaks that, we're going to get out of our last little piece of GameStop here.
Wow, it tries to break that 150 on GameStop and immediately gets slammed back down. I just got into that eyes as well on a little bit of a bounce to the long side here as it just took out 9 even and tried to come back. If it goes below an 850, got to get out of eyes. That could get really ugly real quick if you got that one. But I just got triggered into a GameStop 150 break and then immediately slammed right back off that level. So obvious support at 150 on GameStop. Brendan?
All right, another initial mover here on volume, guys. C3AI announcing a partnership with this Infor. So C3AI, big volume spike. It got all the way down to 84 there at the open. We're all the way back to 89, guys. So huge reversal there initially for AI.
AI, okay. We still have that. We didn't dump anything. We were going to wait till this very bottom there. Thank God it didn't hit for us because we would have got out of that one at that very bottom wick there. But we still are watching GameStop. And then I'm really just dug into this Palantir. If the market gets back upside, we'll have a monster winner. If not, we will have a slight loser. So, that's a risk-reward situation that I'm really willing to take here. But here we come, just rocketing to the downside. Now watch out for these futures, man. We talked about Rocket. I'm not in Rocket. We'll look at that. But Palantir right here, man, holding that. That's the only stock I'm into right now. NIO back down to 36 as well. That could be a good opportunity if you're a long bias.
I just took out this eyes here. I got 890s long, and I actually had some bids to get some more shares. But I'm looking at that previous 950, 960 area, and it looks a little bit tricky for me. It started to slow down here, the momentum-wise anyway. So if it gets through the 960, maybe get a retest of that 10. But I'm going to take the scalp trade and then see what settles down, because a failed breakout off the open on a level like that at $10 usually means that there could be some weakness in the stock if we can't get back through that. So I'm not going to sit there and look 50 cents in the gift horse in the mouth like a 50 cents. Might as well hit the key for you. But I moved that NIO order. And I talked about moving it back down to like that 36 area. So I did get 21s. It just popped up it's trying to pop up to 50. So if I can scalp off a 20-cent win for some of it and then see if we can't get the rest into 37, that'll be the next play. GameStop, if it wants to play between 150 and 158 again, I'm going to stay away from that range. Inside of it's going to stink, and then we'll play it when it gets outside of that. But NIO, a nice little bottom pick. Talked about moving that order down a little bit when Tesla got to the bottom. And where did Tesla turn? 585, and that's when we got that NIO. Brendo?
All right, anyone wondering on this Athena Holdings, ATH, merging with Apollo Group on a all-stock, all-equity deal, guys. So a big deal, but 9% here. It's heading southbound. Got to watch both in this case for ATH.
Okay, I'm noticing right now like crazy, and I hate to do this, guys, but this 50 is holding. Like, there is a reserve order here at 50 on Palantir, so we've gotten out a cup. There it is. Yes, sir. Let's go, Palantir. Let's go. If we can get this to the upside there now, it'll be nice, man. We're dumping some of these shares that we do have to the upside. Now goes Palantir, so let's see how high this one wants to fly, man. We've got a decent position here on for Palantir, so now it goes to the upside. Let's just keep going. A big trade alert for Palantir, man. Everything's lining up beautifully here. Let's just see if it does go up, man. It did hold that very, very bottom, and we averaged in beautifully there. So let's just take some more on the upside out, guys.
There's that OPGN breaking through that 270. I just got 74s there on that little break. You know what, whatever. I'll take it. I wanted more shares there at like 71 if we could have got it. I ended up with 74s here. It was a bit of a double top. We talked about the first look. I didn't catch that fade trade the first time through. A little busy with a few other names there. But here comes $3 almost immediately on OPGN. So another one of these small cap movers. And GameStop about to take 158 second time.
Yeah,
I'd watch for 160, 160 and 165. 165 was a big fail. I want 165 even if it goes the second time.
Yeah, same. We're still holding that, man. We'll like to see a takeout of 166, 167 would be pretty sweet there. So we're still holding this GameStop long through 158. And we actually got 158.26. So we actually got a pretty decent price right there. But who cares? Because right now it's hot dog time for Palantir there. I was looking at Neo and Palantir. As Palantir now back upside, man. 23.26, a big position on. Probably the largest position I've had on Palantir in a while there. That's how strongly we believed in that 23 and in a possible bounce back here for the market. So congratulations anybody that has that, man. It's a spinning kind of day for money for me today. It's been a big one. Let's see if we can hold on, man. GameStop fails again at that 158, but let's wait to see if it does go, man. So we got GameStop on, we've got Palantir's a monster, and then Eyes. I wish we still had Eyes for that, but we are out. Eyes.
I think we're going to Brendan in a second here, but that Eyes breaks back through that 10 even, might test that 1075 current highs. Let's go to Brendan.
Are you guys?
Banks, guys. Banks rallying once again today. We were talking last week about how strong this group has been. Just got an alert on WFC here. This last stop on the daily chart, 38.95. Above that, off to the races here for WFC today, guys.
Brendan, Eyes is about to halt if it cannot print down from 1050. This is what it looks like here, guys. You can see no prints above this 49 price unless it goes down in the next couple of seconds. You're going to see an upside limit halt on Eyes right here at that 1050 mark. So we like post-halt trading. Anticipated there could have been a couple of names like this, but there it is. There's Eyes halting. I got it entirely too early, but it was looking like it was going to start to show some weakness if it couldn't get through that 960. This is not through that high, that previous high of a 1074 that it got to on the 10 break. So if it opens lower than this reopen price, I'm going to like it to the short side because you have two levels. You got 50s and you got 74s to work off of. And if it opens to the high side, you can use those both as support. So post-halt should come in about 5 minutes or so, assuming it's a 5-minute volatility halt. Could be 10 minutes. Either way, it's certainly a volatility halt in Eyes. What a mover.
Man, we are definitely on the wrong one. I think that one of the best movers today has been Neo, man. I mean, right down to 36. Give me a break. I'm sitting here staring at Palantir when we talked about Neo, and that was a monster move to the upside, man. Like, you know what? Tomorrow, forget about Palantir early. I'm not going to even look at that. I'm going to just let it sit down and relax because right now, Neo, man, it doesn't get any clearer than that. I mean, we even wrote these levels down and we didn't do anything about it. So 36.16, 36.20 there. What a great little bottom. I mean, if Neo gets going, man, why not? 38.50 coming sooner than later here on a big mover for Neo. I'm going to go long, man. 38.50.
Tesla top break.
What was that?
Tesla top break here.
Tesla top break as well. Okay, we can check out that quickly. Tesla. We'll go to Brendan, then we'll look at Tesla.
Bitcoin coming off, guys, real quick. SOS just popping up on volume here. We did bounce off pre-market lows by getting back towards 650 here for SOS again. Bitcoin downside so far, guys.
Yeah, Bitcoin, eh? Okay, so Neo 38.50. We'll go into that a little bit here, and then Tesla, like you mentioned there, I think Neo probably taking this that 610. We really like that 610 area, so it didn't hit 610 yet. So let's wait to see on that one.
Yeah, I mean, we talked about that about 606 to 610. It just made the top break, which maybe gave you a couple of dollars worth of a scalp if you caught it. But either way, there's a chop zone. There's a definite level up there at like a 630. So I think you can get like a $10, $15 winner if you get that 610 break in Tesla. But this is that chop area that we don't necessarily love. You don't want to play inside that range. I want to see it break out of it. GameStop's still in that $150, sorry, 150 to 158 range. So nothing to see there. But Tesla, I think, could be the next play.
Okay, we're at the highest spot we've been at all day. As Palantir just rip city right now, guys. PLTR just making moves to the upside, man. 90s now. We'll get some out there. Yes, sir. Thank you if we can. We just missed those 93s, though. Okay, there we go. Get some 89s and some 93s. So bang, bang. Out and out there. Nice little trade. Back upside, man. This is a big trade for me, guys. So, yeah, we're super happy, excited. Go! Yes, sir, man. Big trade, big trade, guys. That's all I can tell you for right now. 38.50 here on NEO does break through. So we did take a small position here. I told you we're not going to get blown out taking tops off for NEO like we've done in the past. So we'll wait to see. I guess the high really is 38.60. We did get a little excited there at 38.50. So let's watch out. But there's the high, 38.60. As Palantir now 80 cents in the money, guys. That's the big money trade today.
Yeah, and there goes Tesla through that 610, up at 612 already. Now, of course, you know how we try to do it around here. We scalp a little bit because if it plays inside of a range, I want to be getting it out as many times as possible. So if it holds like that 606 to 608 area from before, could be a dip buy. Just took $3 off, but XSPA, this one's running here a little bit here, and I am short at that $2 range. 215 is the high of day. So if that gets absolutely crazy through that 215, got to be all out of it. We talked about Tesla being that break. It needed to get through that first chop zone, and that's what you saw there at that 605. Now we could be all systems go, and apologies for there. That's some pre-split prices there. On the daily chart, guys, lots of room to get to that 630 area, which I think could be the next area for resistance, as long as we can continue through. Tesla on the break, about $4 in the money. I'm looking for more than that.
And bang, we go bang city right now. Look at this, guys. NEO trade, bang, bang, bang. All the way to the upside. We're long at 38.50 right now. 65 cents in the money for this bad boy. And then bad boy is right here, guys. 24.19, man. We are hitting this one. Bang, $1 in the money on Palantir. Man, what a day this has been, man. Big time. Two times daily goal, Valeria. Like that sweater. What's up, B?
Speaking of Palantir, guys, Buzz, remember that ETF from last week, just popping up here on volume as well. So we're heading back to 24 once again for this Buzz. Now up 1.5%, showing strength for the first time, guys.
I bet. I mean, the market's rebounding, though. Some of those names they have Tesla in there, they have Palantir, so Buzz lighting it up right now, guys. I might get out of this GameStop.
So I thought we'd be opening, okay, 20 seconds or so, we could be reopening on that eyes. Seeing Tesla pull right back into that 610. This is why I take some of the scalp trade off. If it gives you another bounce in the 06 to 08 area, I'd love to be able to play that. XSPA, I always try to give the case if it goes against me, but of course that's reversing now. So I am in the money on that one. That 2 even short, it's back down to the low 90s. There's the open trade on eyes, and okay, so immediately opens to the high side. I tried to pick up a quick 50s long, but I'm not going to be able to chase it. We talked about if it tried to open above that 50, you grab that long with support in front of it. That was entirely too fast to try to do it manually, guys. And if it breaks the high, this is now 11:35. Very, very likely you could have successive halts if it makes that break.
Okay, Palantir, let's go, buddies. More hot dogs for everybody. Thank you for all the support this weekend. We had some pretty cool things there on Twitter. We got a lot of love here for this one. People think that I did this. I did that. That was a nice pizza. Where was it? It was right here. This is me and my man. We went for a walk there, and look what we saw. GME to the moon, guys. This was on our walk there in the Junction. Those of you in Toronto would know about that. So thank you for all the likes there. 180, 70 likes there for that one. And we're watching GME. And we made a little bit of money today on GME, but right now it's back to 154. So we're long 158 in and out, holding 1/3 of this trade. But there goes Palantir, man, to the moon. That's a dollar winner. So it seems like money's just falling down here. I'd throw it to Brendan, but I got to let this thing get out of the way. There it is. What's up, B?
Another fan favorite popping up here. Bingo, guys. BNGO, almost 10%. Just touched 801 up there at the top. So big volume breaking through 8 for bio-nano-genomics, guys.
Holla.
Trying to get through 620 is Tesla here. It actually just touched it once, a bit of a reversal, and trying to push through again. So almost $10 in the money, not quite there yet, but a good name that you mentioned, of course, Brendan, and that eyes. Wow, that is moving rather rapidly. I said if it opened higher than that 1250, sorry, the 1050 halt price. I looked for a long when it broke the previous, and it couldn't even get it. It wasn't fast enough. But hopefully somebody got that to the long side. It was a fantastic bounce off 9, and now post halt even better than that. Miss V at the big screen.
Hey Neil, NNDM is the name from the chat. Nano Dimension is up more than 3%, guys. 13%, guys.
All right. I have nothing to do on NNDM so far today. I haven't even looked over there, but maybe we will. GameStop falling back down below 150. We are going to use this bottom as our out, guys. Right now, it's really irrelevant because of what we've done on Palantir. And I told you that was a big boy position, man. We put on our big boy pants. There it is. We get out. We'll fall down a little bit, whatever. Slaying the dragon on GameStop. Who cares? That was a big move in and then out. Yeah, should have taken that out a little more aggressively there, and we didn't, so we screwed that one up. But look at this NEO trade, guys. Not screwing anything up right here, as GameStop's still positive. NEO here to the upside. Bang, bang, bang. Out 39.40s as now we're coming faded in. This is why you get the hell out of a lot of your positions, guys, including Palantir. As much as we loved it, we've already hit that upside. Let's just take some more out. Like, I cannot believe we finally, and I hate the diamond hand, so we'll just set up the bowling. I don't hate them. It's just I don't have them. So we set it up, and we're able to take out a lot of shares on the upside here, man. Normally, we're getting them all out here on a VWAP break, but look, bang, 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 all the way to the upside. We enjoyed this move up, so now let's not lose everything on the way back down. We're pretty much flat on everything right now. We'll watch to see if NEO wants to bounce again, but that's been a good trade. And then Palantir out some 22s, and now we'll just wait. Let's find something else that we can get, including some more advice from Brendo.
We saw it on the upgrades and downgrades board, guys. Peloton with a huge move here. We've already gone from 106 to 112. Big move, yeah, 7.3% on an upgrade for Peloton.
If you look at that now dimension, it did make already a bit of a breakout. Look at that pre-market level here at 825 for a bit of a pullback. If it gets down in there, worth a look. We did mention Peloton for potential break in some of these rebound plays. Now Tesla is pulling back in here, guys. And look, I just showed you Nano Dimension. This is completely unrelated. The market stalling out on the NASDAQ. If you look at the overnight, 1270, a big level. And so that bit of a turn that you're seeing, Tesla actually leading the way when it failed to break through that 620. So there was a bit of an iceberg order, not an iceberg, but a big level at 620. If we can get back to like that 06, 08 area, I think it's worth a rebound. And any break at 620 is probably going to be another momentum trade through. So I kind of like that breakout as well.
Okay, so just to give you guys an update there, we just took out another piece. Now we have 5% left. Less than 5% left of Palantir. So we're out of that one now. Great trade. We'll get away from it and we'll move on because we're not letting this market destroy us here. We're at 2 times daily. We've already made a lot more today than we lost even on Friday by the time the close came through. So a couple good days here, considering that I'm always seem to be pretty bullish. The NASDAQ does turn positive, I guess, there at one point. Now back to the downside. So watch out here as NEO making moves back down. We're still in that very small position here. Out 20, 40, 60, 80. We still have 20% of this one, but we're not going to let it go down too much further than this. Let's see if it goes down to breaks this $38 and we'll get out of the rest. But that's NEO starting to go to the downside right now. GE came down and just hit us here at 86. So that was a level that I was waiting for. No real particular reason other than the fact that I don't mind starting something here in front of some of this 70, 75 like we talked about. But let's get some off as it looks like a good little pickup on the down low. What's up, Beep?
You read my mind, Sean. GE coming downside here. Just had an alert go off there. You can see huge volume spike as we broke down to 1390. Guess that was your order, Sean.
Yeah, that was my order, except for, I got 86s there. So it's not a huge order as you may think, just a couple million shares. So let's just see what happens here on the bottom there, 1385. We did pick that up. We dumped it out, man, 90s and 91s. So we're trying to be, again, just capital preservation. Bang! Another one. There's another 5 center. And look, you can, might be saying, why is this guy celebrating 5 cents? It's all about the P&L, right? So you want to look at the P&L, see what's happening there. I don't look at trades based on anything other than, what these levels are saying. This market's coming down. I don't want to hold some longs. So when you take a position and you have a nice little winner there, sometimes you just take that El Profito there. So we'll put some of that profit in our pocket and then look elsewhere right now, including NEO. Looking at this, this is the level I'm really interested in here. 38, 37.80 there as VWAP. Ooh.
Yeah, 605 here on Tesla. Now, here's a key thing here. If we get below that 605 on Tesla and XPEV is going to break at 29 even, I just reloaded into Tesla, but I'll go short on XPeng if it breaks 29. So it's not necessarily a hedge, but it kind of is one if this level cannot hold. And it's an iceberg right now on Tesla at that 605, which is trying to break through, but not much of an offer below. Still giving me a chance to get short into XPEV, which is not breaking that 29 even yet. So I'm looking for the short on XPEV, but I'm monitoring that long pullback here in Tesla, which is just held 605. So there's a very good chance I might not even get into that short position, but I do want to come back over to one name we neglected. Virgin Galactic. A lot of these recovery names have pushed through to the top. If there is a hard reversal short, I like space for a short is in the same way that I would look at XPeng for some weakness in the EV space. For some of these ARC names, I do like the temporary short here on Virgin Galactic, and a 28 even break would be the first entry for me.
I thought I bought some more NEO. Okay, there it is. Yeah, now it comes through. I thought I got some earlier there as it ripped up, but it didn't. So we're just gonna see if we can hold this 37.90. We've averaged in twice here, some at 38, then some at 37.93, I think. Where was my fill? 95. So look, if this comes out, we're gonna be out soon. If this breaks 37.80, man, I've already have the stop order in. We will be out. So here it comes. Look at this market, just getting to the downside. I know Neil's on Tesla. I'm on NEO. There it goes. So we'll still be positive on NEO, but we had to drop it there as the futures coming to the downside there. It might have just hit that kill spot there, 37.80. Right at view up. I think we got out prematurely. Damn it. Oh, man, that's a miss. I mean, you might see a bad wick there for me. That may be the worst out there today. So congratulations, Sean, you got it.
And speaking of interesting outs, or not even hitting, 29 even on XPEV just holds up as Tesla tries to bounce as well. So you're seeing some of these key levels hold up okay. So I'm kind of still in this Tesla, seeing if it can hold the range. And I am going in that space. Virgin Galactic, if it breaks 28.50, of course, and 29 even, looks like XPEV is going to be a big one. But on the corner of my eyes, I cannot get away from what an unbelievable post-halt move this was on eyes. It looks like it's about to go, and again, I can't really predict this, but it could go halt again if it makes a test through 15 even. At this point, it's gone parabolic enough, and Tesla about to break 600. Where's my out? There we go. Actually, no, did not get out of Tesla trigger there on that 600 break. There it is. 600 breaks on Tesla reversed into that particular name. Still holding 29 seems to be that XPeng. And if we halt to the upside on eyes again, I'm going to be looking for a short on that reopen.
Brendo?
Market trying here, guys, trying to hold, but some weakness to look at. Some of the Chinese names showing a little relative weakness today. Alibaba down 2%. You can see trying to hold 229, support in the pre-market there. JD.com, very similar looking chart to Alibaba today, guys.
Sorry, what was that last one?
JD and Baba.
Oh, yeah, Bob. Yeah, okay. So I do like Alibaba. There's no doubt about that one. But okay, so NEO again does it to us. We get out there, we average into this long, and then it breaks again all the way down to 37.40. So probably similar to what happened there on that Tesla break. So yeah, NEO breaks to the downside and then just rips right back up. So boo-hoo on that. Look at all these longs we had on NEO. I was just like, visions of Friday, and it just ripping to the downside. We got out for minimal damage there. But damn you, man. Now it's all the way to the backside. Missed opportunity there. 90 cents in the money. We get out of the last, so now we have 3% only left of Palantirs. We get out some there on that VWAP break. Silly move as the NASDAQ just moves right back to the upside now. Shit, man. Damn it.
Oh, my God.
We should have had this. Damn it. We should have had this NEO, man. Oh, we just got ticked out here. I don't know if that wick happened. If it does, I don't feel so bad.
I got wicked out on that Tesla. As a matter of fact, I got wicked out reverse long and had to lose $1 on the long on that accidental long position. But eyes could halt limit down. I thought the next push was going to be through 15 and it would halt limit the upside. I'd short it that way. But for now, it looks like it has a shot at limit down. It just bounced off of 1250, therefore avoiding it. The weakness in this, that came out of absolutely nowhere. I mean, there wasn't any kind of an order that was obvious to me up around 15. That's why I thought it was going to test through. Let's see if it doesn't retrace through that 15 even. That's going to be the key price. And of course, Tesla's going to bounce. That Virgin Galactic not going to make the breakdown. If we do get up towards that 610 again on Tesla, I'll be looking to fade Virgin below 29.20, Virgin Galactic 29.20 to 29.30. This little high here.
Sorry, I thought that was coming over to me there, but GE right now back up to $14. So yeah, Brendan, you talked about that level down there. Look at this pickup for GE, guys. We'll probably tweet this one out. As we're going to go perfect today, I mean, we haven't really fallen down on anything. GameStop, we don't have the big winner, but we do have it. And then NEO, oh, man, I mean, break out and up. That was a good trade. And then averaged in right there and lost it on that. So whatever. But there's a nice move, man. Out at 14 at VWAP. So GE, what a great move. That was back to the backside there. The one thing that's really, really surprising to me right now, let's check out the best stock to own, in my opinion, Apple. Apple down 2% today and still going. Did I miss a story here, Brendan?
Why is it so weak?
On Apple today? Yeah, it's so weak. It's still down that 2%. Let's check out Mr. Softy here, see what they're down today as well. Yeah, only 0.69, which makes sense with the market, right? So Apple here today, relatively weak. Our charts look like a mess as we have all these D-prints, but yeah, can Apple hold this once? Like, what the hell is Apple doing down here right now? 117 and change. Me no likey, me no understand, so I'll wait to see what happens there on Apple, because this doesn't make any sense. We shouldn't be close to, I know we're still $1 away, but really surprising that we're close to that bottom there from Friday on Apple. Wow, money coming out of this bad boy.
Yeah, and Tesla breaks 600 again. Of course, I talked about I would go over to Virgin Galactic for the short trade. I just got some shares. Oddly enough, it broke 28, and then of course my stock doesn't trigger for whatever reason. It's okay. I can get a double fill here at 03s, and then some more shares at 98. So I got 98 and change as an overall price, and there's the limit halt down on eyes at 1234. So the weakness did come into that particular name. With this rollover, obviously, if we get anywhere close to the 27 even, I'll be taking some profit on Virgin Galactic. And if the market holds down, if Tesla holds below 600, this is a short I want to be in, not for the duration. We're day trading here, but I want to hang on to for sure in this particular name anyways.
Okay, so we're going to try to go short here on NEO if it does break back below. And just, I mean, the market's falling here, right? That Apple pretty much told me everything I need to know about what's happening. So, let's just wait to see if we take this out again. We'll wait a little bit lower, like 1330, 1340. And the thing is, if that does break, then we can give it back to here, which I like. 37.80, which is right where this tipping point is right now on VWAP. So, the market's giving some back. We just talked about it being positive. Now we're down that 1%. So watch out here. 37.40 and change coming through right now on NEO, guys. If you like the show so far, let's give us some love. Let's go back to Valeria at some point too. Over 3,000 likes. We had 2,400 about a half hour ago before the market even opened. So guys, over 9,000, almost 10,000 watching. Let's see if we can't get a little more likes going. And you don't want to see my face. Maybe you want to see hers, Valeria. Give him shit.
Hey guys, it's International Women's Day today, and let's get as many likes as possible for all the latest traders all over the world. So guys, please show some love and support and hit thumbs up right now. Back to Brandon.
I don't know if we're going to Brendan. You say it.
Sure, why not? Let's talk about the markets, guys. We'll have a look at what is happening. North American markets back to flat for both the S&P and the Dow. We are still up on the Dow, 0.4%, but it's the NASDAQ, once again, tech stocks, as we saw Apple leading the way there, 0.8, 0.5 for the composite and the 100 to the downside, offsetting any gains coming from anywhere else really in the market today. The Russell, 1.4% to the upside. Big day again for small caps so far. Here in Toronto, the TSX 0.3%. If you're joining us down in Brazil, about 0.8% in negative territory so far for the Bovespa. A couple of things from the watch list, guys. We saw a big move initially on GameStop, but came all the way back and then some. We're back into this range from the pre-market around that 155. So initial move was the easier trade, definitely for GameStop, back into the range. The other one we looked at, AAL, on an offering this morning. It was down here in the pre-market. We're higher. 21 ended up being a problem there, trying to get higher for AAL. Guys, back to you.
All right, so here we go, guys. We'll do some backflips right now. We got Rocket breaking through right now. It's a nice little trade through 25. We got 25.06. So that's rocketing our profits to the upside right there. On a beautiful 25 break, man, out 25.30. And we did put on some shares here. So real big trade here for me on Rocket. That's why we get out initially. Like, it just popped in. I saw the P&L and I was like, okay, I got to get out. That's not the most best thing to do if you're a trader, but that was a big move up. We did notice this move up in the future. So we do want to make sure that we did take a little bit of that out. As the momentum, and good thing we did, as the momentum in Rocket goes to the upside. Now we wait for 26. I think now I don't have to give this all the way back to 24. We can actually give it back to VWAP here, I think, a little bit. Yeah, why not? 24.55 is the bottom. Yeah, there's VWAP right there. So let's give this one a little bit to the downside there. And then another big win for us, GE, man, all the way to the backside, upside. It comes all the way back down. We take it out, tick, 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 all the way back back up. It goes to 14 there, which it's at right now. So let's get some more out here of GE as this one's going to the moon as well. So a couple nice wins for us here today. So hell yeah, money spitting out. We're near the highest spot we've been at all day, guys.
Yeah, not going to the moon, actually going to the gates of hell here. And we talked about the overall weakness of Tesla back down to like 93s or so. And then the rollover continuing in Virgin Galactic. We talked about that 28 level. Got some legs out here in front of that 50. I do have bids in front of 27 just to make sure that we're taking profit all the way down. It's all about relative weakness for me. We're still halted here for about 30 seconds to a minute on that eyes. And this, of course, is a down halt. So I like these downward halts. They're a little bit more, I guess, positive when it comes to finding that price location. So if we do make an open below this 1230, I like giving it back to that range. So if it opens at like 12 even, I'd give it to like a 1230 on the short re-entry trade. Not a market on open trade that I would do. I try to get in after the liquidity comes into the name. But it's all about the short for me first on this eyes. If it does open higher than 1230, my hands would be off the keys in that particular case.
So we did take a NEO short there, and it did go in the money for us only a little bit. We went short at 30. It goes into the money about 12 or 13 pennies. We're going to give it back to VWAP right here, a little bit higher than that on that break. So we'll wait to see if it does take this out. But right now it's short on NEO finally. And if you're joining us again for the first time, you'll notice all these green arrows for me and Neil are both buys, and then the red are sells. If you ever see anything purple, that means it's a short sell. So we're borrowing the name to get out of it on the short side. So we're wishing for it to go down. So that would be, if you do see that, and just an example here on GE, like in here, one in, and then a whole bunch of outs, right? These are all sells. So I just park the orders there, see how high it goes up, and then get out. The same thing, similar. Bang! That's why we're going Valeria. Finally, I was wondering, I was like, why does the net just keep going up? And then we just got ticked out right there on Rocket for 50-cent win there. So a good win. Now we'll hold the rest of this Rocket and see what does happen. And here comes NEO right back to the downside. Can we get this? Boom! We get the 18s as well. Look, your boy can go long and we can go short. So there's a nice little bearish win there on NEO. Let's see how far this one wants to go down. But right now, NEO, GE, Palantir, and Rocket, let go. Highest spot we've been at all day.
Market is heading to the south side here, but I do try that eyes to the short. That actually is going to follow its own ways. It's in and out very quickly. We talked about that level. It tried to open below that 1250, immediately snapped up, in and out, but Virgin is continuing to head southbound, but also GameStop. Now, the long was a great one, but tried that short one on a 150 break. It could not maintain through. Now showing a little bit more weakness. Low of the day, a 145 break is going to be in play. I'm not going to do 150 again, but if 145 goes on GameStop, that one I will take. Brendo?
OPGN, guys, recent high flyer here. This is COVID related. They had a diagnostics tool that got the okay from the FDA for ICU patients when it comes to secondary infections. So OPGN, 50%, just broke $3 there, guys.
Hell yeah, OPGN. We're going to be waiting for our guest trader of the day to come through from Day Trade the World. We'll talk to him and see what he's looking at today and you know, how to trade days like this, man, when they just kind of, you know, we get big moves off the open, then a big move again, and now we'll wait to see. But I know how to trade it. We're cashing in right here as we just continue to give props to each other. Let's just continue to do that, man. It's been a big day for me so far. Short 37.30 here on NEO. Bang, bang, bang. We don't have any negative stocks today, man. We're just going to wait to see what does happen, though. You know, knock on wood. We'll wait. GE, we're almost out of everything here on GE. We do have 20% left. We just got hit again at 95, so we'll take that down into the teens now as far as the position is left there. NEO, we got less than half. We actually got exactly 40% left on NEO, so 20, 40, 60% out, and then we'll just see. I mean, if the market goes back upside, we'll adjust this because VWAP has now come back down for us, and Rocket Mortgages, which is Rocket Companies, Quicken Loans, former Quicken Loans, looking to take out the top as well, man. Man, this is a good day here, Neil.
Watch out for Apple, guys. I looked at 117.60 going back into last week as a bit of a bottom. It's trying to hold that now, and the barometer for me is Tesla maintaining above 600. And I think once that happens, I like to think back about into some of these longs, but until that way, we talked about Tesla being a bit of a leading indicator of overall in the market, and I'll sort of double down on that by saying I don't want to be out of this short in Virgin Galactic if Tesla's trading below that 600. So it's about to try to come back into break even, which is at 28, which is around that VWAP. But if Tesla's still showing weakness, I want to hang on to the second half of that trade. Eyes continually showing strength. And once again, even after flushing, now I'm going to get out because I want a tight stop if it's going to be strong. It does give a flush to 1150, and now looking to break out again. This is the current 1330 high. It's a pure momentum play at this point. If it ever takes out 15, I think I like it for the long. But once you get a downward halt, I'm going to slant towards wanting to short that particular name. So let's see it break through the top, and I see a special guest that's going to be coming through. Cannot wait to have him on. You guys are going to absolutely love it.
Yeah, no pressure there. NEO right now, guys, we are 4 for 4 right here, man. GE rocking and rolling, NEO rocking and rolling. The baddest stock around, apparently, Palantir. Yeah, right. Palantir rocking and rolling as well. 80 cents in the money on Palantir, guys. 70 cents in the money on Rocket. And then GE and NEO just chilling out. So look at this Rocket trade, man. Wow. Why did we not just hold that? Oh, yeah, because we saw profit and took it. Should not have done that, man. We should have held on to this Rocket. And, man, we'd be at a high spot right now today. But there it goes, Rocket. Yes. Bang! We're still holding those commons too, guys. So Rocket right now with a beautiful move, up that 3%, and we're loving that move right now as Rocket goes to the upside. I still got options, I've still got commons, and we'll see what Rocket wants to do. Obviously, should have got them out in the 40s past tense, but we'll wait. We're at our highest spot we've been at all day today, so everything's rocking and rolling. We didn't get out of NEO, so now we got to wait. If it breaks back above 70, I think, was the trade that I have, we will get out. But NEO, look at this move upside, man. Taking the market up and obviously taking NEO with it. Looks like we'll lose on our last 40%. Give it to us, Brendo.
Disney, among the few guys maintaining some of this strength so far today. Still up 2.5% here for Disney. Failed up there at 198, which is kind of the top end of the range on the daily chart. But Disney, relative strength today, guys.
And going to be putting on essentially about the same trade. Well, it's close to the same trade on eyes, but give it a little bit more room. And anytime I see it base out, it tried to make that little bounce. It tried to get back through that 1350 a couple of times now with failures. I think it gives me a nice little line in the sand to work with. If it breaks 1350, no problems. But Virgin Galactic, watch out. 600 holding above on that Tesla, so I'll give it one crack to get back to the downside. Otherwise, have to cover it when Tesla shows strength. You have to pay attention to some of those ARC names. I don't know what you want to call them. We can call them the Cathie Wood trade if you would like to. I think Mark talked a little bit about that as well, that the entire sector starts moving when the ETF goes up, and Tesla, of course, the biggest holding there.
Yeah. I mean, Tesla's just a pure momentum play. Yeah, I just call them growth stocks, man. I mean, she's investing in all those innovations there. So Tesla, obviously, with a lot of big things to come on Tesla. There it is. So NEO there, we get out, but that's completely fine, man, because as we get out of NEO, everything else just rockets to the top side. So we are waiting for Palantir. I did want to check out that Apple there. We did talk about that again at that 117 bottom. Apple.ny, you got to switch over, bud. Okay, 118 does tick down to the bottom. Maybe that was it. We've seen the NASDAQ here go up and down and now around again, right back to this little area where we're trying to push through positive. So we got to break above this 12,650. If we could do that, then obviously Apple will go. I'm going to start adding like the futures soon to my trading because, I mean, trading the market just sometimes seems a lot easier than trading some of these equities considering, I mean, I don't want to go away from what I'm doing the best, which is equity trading. So maybe we'll stick there. But there is some word to talk about futures right there. Rocket, $1 in the money. Palantir, $1 in the money. GE, 10 cents in the money now with GE. So that's a good trade there. And we'll wait to see. It's having a hard time through 14. That leads me to believe that if we do break above 14, then we like it, and we like it a lot. So let's go through 14. We'll take a little more shares if we break through 14 here on GE. Won't give it back too much, but let's see if we can get some shares through 14 and then upside on GE, guys.
And speaking of upside, watch out for the top end on American Airlines. We're trying to get to that 1270. The market's trying to get to that 1270. And if we do break 1270 on the NASDAQ and the ES can push through highs, AAL through top of the day is going to be a good one. But I got to give that weird, I don't know, moonwalk or whatever it might be. Finally on eyes, I've been trying to be very patient with this one. I had a couple of cracks at it. I had a good long. I took off too early. We do get the rollover short here off of this 13 area at 1280. It just touches down to give me like 70 cents and then $1 before once again holding this 1150. So if I can hold half the position to retrace into VWAP, fantastic. Otherwise, now that it's touched off this level again, I have to tighten my stop up here. I was going to give it to a 1350, but now I'm only going to give it to 13 even. If it wants to play in this range one more time, I don't want to get caught in the short end of it, but eyes to the south side. And if 1150 goes, $10 in VWAP is next.
All right, and yeah, there it goes, guys. And we've got it, man. Let's just sit back, relax. I got to get my water right now soon because we're just going to watch this rocket go off now. It goes through 26. I did miss that 26 punch, though, there. I didn't even have the order out, so that's my bad. But here we go. Rocket to the upside, so let's just keep on going. And why not, man? Let's just walk on water a little bit. We're just taking a break, man. We're sitting back. We're relaxing. We have Palantir in the money $1. We have Rocket in the money $1.31. And we have GE now 10 cents in the money looking to take it out. We just got some more out 98. I figured if I'm going to go long through, all right, let's sit up. If I'm going to go long through 14 here, I might as well take some out now. We already have the 86 long, so one of my top stocks today is GE. My number one stock by far is Palantir. Wish we would have held them all, man. We loaded up, and that's the thing, guys. Like, if you're following me, I'm going to tell you every single time I got a position on that I think we can, hammer. So there it is, man. I told you about this spot on Palantir and how much we liked it. And then I had more shares here than I'd ever had in Palantir since the last week. So we loaded that up. We believed in that 23 bottom. And sometimes you just got to make those plays. So we do that, and then we get out to the upside. That's why we still have some on. It's a big trade. And right here, man, we're at the highest spot we've been at all day. Part of that is due to this beautiful trade here on Rocket, up 6% and making moves, guys. Maybe I'll get out of some of these options. Let me go see what the price is.
Just a downside halt in eyes. Of course, I am short this stock if it went into the halt. It just tried to take out that 1150. And anytime I see a stock go into the halt position, I'm usually going to, or about to, I'm going to trim a little bit. So I'm holding less shares into the halt. I end up with actually just at half the position. If it does open, I do have a market on open order. So if it halts, if it opens to the downside, I will get out of another leg here. I want to try to hold at least some to see if it gets back to that $9 range. But you never want to, look, you don't want to get too greedy, guys. Like I always say, I always do this. Don't look that gift horse in the mouth. I know it's a fun saying, but if you're momentum trading, this stock could easily bounce off 10 and then head right back into that 13. We've seen it happen multiple times. I've seen it happen multiple times. It's bounced off VWAP every single time. So if you can get $2-3, if I can get $2-3, I'll be perfectly happy on the reopen and then hang on to like that last 15% of the trade for a bigger runner. I talked about that 600 on Tesla. There was a break, and I'm going to show you here, guys, on the chart. It did break. You get a little retest into this, and I was watching that remember 606 to 608? We talked about that in our prep. You see the test into that range. Again, it fails. So when I see that happen, I add to that Virgin Galactic short, sort of trading that one by proxy, of course, the overall space, all the ARC names moving in consortium. So if we're going to hang below 600 and unable to make that secondary breakout through that pre-market high, I like the short still in Virgin Galactic. Brendan?
We mentioned Fisker in the pre-market. One of the few EV makers really showing relative strength here this morning as well, 3.8%. It was up way more than that initially, but trying to bounce here. $22 for FSR, guys.
Ooh, of course, Fisker. That's one thing we kind of get away from. I do want to come over, if I can, just quickly to PayPal. And we mentioned, of course, that news story. And not necessarily new news, or anything new that we hadn't heard about. But it's got a bit of a higher low level here at that 235, which I'm filing away. If there's some strength overall in the market, that could be a bit of a support level. And, of course, we're just barely negative on the session in PayPal, even with that retracement. Also going to come to XPeng. They, of course, having their earnings. We still haven't broken that 28 even, so as much as I'm watching Tesla go to the downside, I like the short in Virgin Galactic because it gave me a level, but XPeng never actually breaking through the bottom. So unfortunately, there's not going to be a trade there for me just yet. I do have to watch for the reopen in about 1 minute and change on eyes, because that's going to be the most active name, at least for me, on this particular day. And then just to come back to another name, which has been a good bottom pick for, I think, both of us last week, Square has a double bottom at 210. So if we do get a push downside in these markets, if there is another turn to be had on a Tesla, jumping into Square has worked before, and 210 looks like a good support level.
All right, guys, and sometimes when we're having these kind of days, we can't forget about what brought us here in the first place, and that is the Fruit Salad Gang. What's up to the Fruit Salad Gang? Today, we just went and got some. It looks okay. I mean, I think the pineapples look okay. The watermelon, I'm not sure. And then we've got some nice grape action as well with some blackberries. So we'll see what this is like, but cheers to anybody. Sometimes you need to get a little hydrated. And with that being said as well, watch out, I didn't explode, good thing. We go with Hydration Nation right here. So we'll take a couple sips right there. But of course, I can't get any word in without throwing to Brendo.
Super League Gaming, guys. We mentioned this one a couple of days last week. Had a big run up to 9.5, all the way back to $5 today. We're trying to hold $5 here. Not a huge move, but a decent opportunity. 550 came into play earlier this morning for SLGG.
All right. I was just trying to log into my account here to see what these options are doing, because look at Rocket, man. It just takes off to 27.80 there to the upside. So a nice little movement in Rocket today. We take a 25 long. Let's just see. I mean, maybe we'll get out at 27 for a $2 win, but right now we're just loving life and waiting to see what Rocket does to the upside. I noticed that GE, when I was gone there to get that fruit salad, didn't break. I kept the order in. I was expecting to actually come back and be long through 14. Didn't happen yet, so we'll wait to see. These futures just really just right now just bouncing around. Rocket back up to 26.55. We'll see what it does. Again, 27.80 possibly being taken out, and then Palantir just sideways movement right now, not doing anything. But like I said, man, we've already cashed in. Like I may not take any more big trades today. If I do, I'll let you know. But for me, it's been such a successful day. We're at 2 times our daily, and if we don't see anything, then we will stay away. But we're going to keep looking for you.
On the reopen, of course, I'm going to take some shares off, like I said, in eyes. It goes to I get 11.35, it looks like. Got down to 11 even, but it's managing to hold below 12. So I did move my stop from 13 to 12.50. That way I cannot lose on the last 15% of this position. If it comes down into VWAP, this was also... look, this is going to be 10.50 here, but you're going to see on the way up there was a halt at that same 10.50 price, then held on the reopen. That's why I like it for that last little out. Certainly there could be some more trades to be had on it, but either way, I'll be very, very pleased if I can pull a couple of bucks out of that particular name. Sort of consolidating here and looking like it wants to make another push. And I'm talking about DraftKings. It's put on a couple of higher lows, looking very, very strong on the chart so far. And if you're going to file away some longs, in case we take off the top, we looked at American Airlines. Of course, we'll always watch Tesla. But 61.84, I'd personally like 62 a little bit better on DraftKings. This market can get to the upside. And speaking of American Airlines, here it is. Double top again. It's still trying to break. This is 21.16. I mean, I don't know, 15, 16. You have to wait for the actual top to go, but looking like it wants to try to take it out shy of the futures. At least that's the NASDAQ taking that 12.7, and the ES right on those highs. American Airlines not too far behind, even with the offering.
Yeah, let's go NASDAQ as I send a kiss to my wife. What's up, wife? I see that you're watching. That's good. Okay, so Rocket right now continues to go, guys. 27 and change. I guess instead of this GME to the moon here that we put on Twitter, that would be nice if that said Rocket to the moon, because right now that's what we're doing. And we're rocketing upside here with this name. So up to 27. We're only up that 5%, but hey, we got a $1.50 winner. We're 2 for 2. Thank you so much for everybody here today. I love this channel, blah, blah, blah. Thank you so much, Samuel, for that as well. The Rocket, great trading today, guys. Everything here. So thank you so much for the comments today. It's been a big day, and we've had some big trades on. There's absolutely no doubt about that. As we're going now, we're going to watch this one. GE, can we go through? We shall see. It looks like it's going to try and test 14 right now as the ES at highs, NASDAQ at highs right now. There it is. So we do get long. It breaks back downside. So we are long 01s right now on GE. Let's see what we can do to the upside now. GE breaking through VWAP, breaking through 14. Let's see if we can't test some pre-market highs up to 03 already.
Yeah, the ES just took the top off there. AAL hasn't done it just yet, and the NASDAQ, not necessarily, I mean, not really trailing, but very, very close to that 1270 mark. I still like AAL. I'm going to show you XSPA, if only because this 180 level, and I've been short this all morning long, this 180 level proving to be a bit of a support that we can't chew through. If we pop from here, I'm looking to short again, but probably going to have to wait until we get to like 213, 215, which is the current high of day, guys. Showing some strength here, and I have to take profit off. You can take a 20-cent win. You got to be happy with something like that on XSPA. AAL reversing off the top, so the breakout not necessarily imminent, but imminent for you guys is to go to the big screen in our small cap recap with Brennan.
Hey guys, let's talk small cap names. Neil just mentioned this, but I'll give you my take on XSPA. Go back on the daily chart, $2, pretty obvious pivot. If you go back about a year or so, get into both support and resistance around the $2 area. Hey, guess what? That's where we were in the pre-market this morning, so gave you a really nice test heading towards the open. That was a great spot to add. I was busy, sadly. We're just chopping around now. Volume already dying off on XSPA, not really doing much. ANCN, the one I mentioned right before the open this morning, I said 580 to 6. You can see a bit of a chop zone in the pre-market this morning. It did break down from that, gave you a move down to about 5 or 480 at the bottom there. And then the other level was kind of 690 to 7. Does test that and comes all the way back as well. So a couple of opportunities this morning on ANCN. Guys, back to you.
All right, so GE, man, I mean, there it goes again. We'll just keep spinning it.
Money,
the only thing I wished I still had on, of course, was this bottom here, 85s. But out, GE just rips to 08s now. I mean, this day, I don't know if it can get any better. I'm hoping it can. I told you that we would take another position. We were waiting for 14s to break. We're only going to put our money in where we think it's right, and there it is right there again, guys. Like no averaging in, nothing. These are just two simple trades. Take that bottom in GE and then take this breakout in GE. So it's very, very simple. For me, I was gonna give this about a 3 or 4 cent stop, and now we're in the money 8 cents. So a good, 7 cents. We're long at 01. So a nice little out there. We take some more out right there at 08. I mean, this day is just getting better, man. $1 win on Palantir near the high of the day, and $1.50 win right now on Rocket. That's also near the high of the day, but realistically, we still have that 27 and change coming. I'm going to put an order. I mean, we break 26.80, we probably break 27. Let's put an order upside here, like 27.25. Don't know if we get there, obviously, but that'd be nice if we did. As there goes GE again, man, up to 09s. Hell yeah.
And back down, eyes testing that 1250 where I move my stop and then bouncing off 12. So we're still about 60 pennies in the money here. I'm going to show you OPGN. Testing again this 330. Now 350 probably the bigger level to watch out for, but this is heading very, very quickly what could be one of those breakout points or sort of reversal points. If we do get a failure at 350, that's a level I want on that OPGN. We're going to be all over it if it gets there. And 90 million shares. This has been a very, very active name. It's starting to show some signs of slowing. That's why I'm going to look for that little short trade. We did have a couple of decent longs here. Of course, the second one we had to take out. It did break back to break even, but there was a good breakout, that 270 through that top. We talked about a pre-market. 250 also support if it goes any deeper on a pullback. And then watch out, eyes again trying to test 1250. That's where I'm cutting off my short.
Okay, so yeah, I'm just looking here at a few different names as I'm emailing out today. Happy Women's Day to everybody out there, including Valeria, and then all of our wives and or girlfriends as well, and all our female viewers watching, our mothers, our grandmothers, our great. What's up to my great-grandmother as well? Probably not watching, not my grandmother, my kid's great-grandmother. Hopefully you guys are watching as well. And yeah, it's been a monster day here, man. We're at the highest spot. I have no LFT. And for those of you guys that are, with Day Trade the World, LFT, lost from top. So I'm at my highest spot right now, and we'll just keep on going, man. Palantir, $1. Okay, this pulled back a little bit. So this is why we empty out some GE at the top. I mean, to get this kind of a move on GE, I'm, really fortunate to have had it. So let's not turn a winner into a loser as we take out some GE here for that 7, 8, 9 pennies. Like, for me, that's fine. We take the very bottom at 1385. Bang, bang, bang. Upside, get out near this VWAP. Take it again on a 14 break. Out. No losers today, guys. So it's been a pretty good day. Palantir, still that $1 in the money. This was a monster load up down here off of the NASDAQ drop. Bang to the upside. Our best outs, the high of the day, 24.50. And now we're just going to find something else. I mean, Apple's been struggling. NEO's been ripping and rocking. And then Tesla's still at 602, guys.
Yeah, Tesla didn't too much of that. We talked about 600 to that 608 that we don't like it. That's why I'm staying away. Again, looking for that eyes to get down to $10. About $1 in the money. The reason I'm not taking off because we've already scalped out of what we will there. OPGN right into this 350, looking pretty stronger than I anticipated into this range, and not a heck of a lot of size in there to concern yourself with in terms of resistance. It's just a level on the daily chart that I happen to like it in front of. I'd almost prefer it break. That 350, take out some of that offer. If it's a failed break, we'd catch it on the way down. But standing in front of this feels like a bit of suicide play there. So it just broke now. If we fail to get to like a 360, 365, and then come right back in, I'd much rather look at a short in that regard on LPGM. But you look at that tape and just too strong going into that breakout. And of course, if it halts to the upside here, I will be all over any potential reopen play, which could happen. As this goes to $4 the next minute or two, you're likely to see a volatility halt to the upside. And I love those. We saw how we crushed it on eyes.
Yeah, see ya, OPGN, that's for sure. Okay, so General Electric, here's a 20-minute, whoops, damn it. I was gonna call up a 20-minute chart. Let's do a 3-minute chart. So we are up to this level where we were in the pre-market that we were looking at. I'm actually gonna switch this over to 20 minutes for you guys, just so we can see what I was talking about here. You do have this high right here, back on the 4th of 14.13, like that's right where we're at today. So unless you're taking today's pre-market high of 25, this is a pretty good spot, man. And again, the hits just keep on coming. It's hot dog time for everybody, guys. Have your hot dogs. We'll ask our guest of the day what he likes on his hot dogs coming up. That one's only right now mustard. But here it goes. Big time up. Okay, so here's GE right back to that level that we're talking about. Right back to 14.13. Your boys got this long, man. We're 12 cents, 13 cents in the money on GE. That's a decent looking trade. Let's get some more out. As no LFT, highest spot of the day, man. GE, 15 cents in the money. Palantir, $1 in the money. Rocket Mortgage is $1.20 in the money. Hey, man, it's a good day. Every Monday seems like a good day. Why? Because the markets are open. So let's rock and roll.
I's $1.30, but I just got in and out for a 5-cent hit on OPGN. Actually, a couple of pennies more than that. It's testing down to that, up to that 4 even. I thought we'd get a halt if we push $4. Looks like that's not going to be true. New position alert. AAL finally takes the top off. Got 17s to the long side there. The market, of course, not necessarily screaming, but still headed towards these highs, and AEL looking pretty good. It's hard for me to get away from the OPGN chart because these are levels I'm watching. I wanted this to halt to the upside into that $4. You see it break out at 3:30, and in a matter of a couple of minutes, it does go like 15 to 20%, but no volatility halt in sight for that name. It just turns off $4. That's why no entry for me, unfortunately.
Okay, so like I said, man, we're just getting more out of GE, more. Feed us more, because this has been such a fantastic trade. We slay the dragons today, guys. I mean, some of these positions that we have are just running for us, and it's been such an amazing day here. I can't believe I'm even talking about GE this much. When's the last time we actually, had these kind of moves? Pretty clean to the upside here on GE. We'll take some out right now near this pre-market high, so let's just keep it going right there with that one. You know what's an interesting name that we don't trade? Maybe not enough, because I got smoked on it last week, or was it 2 weeks ago? Was Beyond Meat, guys. So Beyond Meat right here, looking to go a little bit sideways, but we do have, everything right now near the highs. NASDAQ finally turns green after going red a couple times today. Now you have Beyond Meat to the high side. Is Apple back to that 120? That's really no. So Apple's the one now. Not much happening on Apple today at all, but we're down that 2%. So it can't get past itself VWAP. It's struggling to the downside. I just wonder, is this leading us right now down a path that we don't want to take with the NASDAQ? If Apple's down, how much longer until the NASDAQ finally catches up with Apple? But maybe it's just Apple specific today. So, we'll wait on that one. But right now, Palantir, Rocket, and GE, man, 3 for 3 and all big ones. Brendo, take it, bud.
All right, guys, we are thrilled and excited to have a very special guest in studio, our first guest in studio in quite some time. Sammy Lawrence is one of the more senior and more experienced traders here at Day Trade the World and joins us in studio live today. Welcome, first of all. It's great to see you. It's great to have you on the show. We're going to kind of bounce some ideas back and forth and talk a little shop, talk some ideas and see what is happening in the market. We'll bring Neil and Sean in here as well. But I want to get your thoughts first off on preparation going into the day. How important is it to understand for especially new traders that, if you're coming in an hour before the market opens, there's more to it than that. There's more to understanding what is happening in a day. Talk a little bit about, how you approach a trading session.
These days, lately, this past, let's say, call it 15 months, the day starts much earlier than 9:30. I think most of my days, I'm sort of starting work at 6:30, 7 o'clock in the morning. The reason for that is there's so many things going on at once, and if you're not prepared and you don't have a sort of a miniature game plan by the time the day starts, you're probably going to get swept away by things that you weren't aware of. Right. So I think lately in this market, it's about preparation. And if you're not prepared for the events of the day or what may have happened the day before, and a lot of stocks have been in place sometimes for multiple days at a time. Yeah. And so you have to make sure you're not stepping into a landmine where, this is the climax day for that stock where it's the last day and then afterwards it's going to be out of play, right?
Exactly.
And I think that's been sort of unique for the past year and a half, but that used to happen a little bit back in the day, just happening much more now.
How much attention are you paying, maybe at 4 o'clock even, when the market closes, making a mental note or making an actual note of important levels for stocks that, we're doing higher volume than we're used to seeing during the session? So when we come in the morning, as you said, 6:30, we already have that little note ready to go.
I mean, when it comes to notes, I still write notes. I still write notes every day. I have maybe hundreds of books of Amazon basic notebooks that I always write notes. I always write prices down. The reason why prices are significant, notes are significant, a stock might hit a price one day and a year later that price is significant. So it's sort of important to remember what things are doing, where they stopped, where they went, inflection points, pivots, things like that. It has been very important to observe at least a good half hour after the market's closed. I mean, you can't get obsessed and sit there and look at charts, but you do have to take some kind of notes for the next day, for the next week. You can't just walk away, log out, and say, "Oh, that was a great day." You do have to still do some after work prep. So, unfortunately, the days have been much longer than historically possible. I mean, I remember back in, I don't know, maybe 6-7 years ago, you could just trade the open and the close. You didn't have to stay for the middle of the day. Now it's very different. You have to put a lot more work in, and you have to be a lot more prepared, because it's not only about making money, it's also about, if you don't prepare, you will lose money very quickly.
And we were speaking before we came on here a little bit about these little teeny tiny stocks that are doing hundreds of millions of shares every single day. It seems like there's one or two of them, and the challenges that creates throughout the day and throughout the week as we go forward. We're going to bring in Neil and Sean here and continue watching the markets, guys, and continue trading. But we'll pick Sammy's brain here as we have him in studio today. Very excited to have Sammy with us, guys.
I don't know if we want to get too involved in that brain of his, because it'll overwhelm me. But the one thing, Sammy, you and I, great minds think alike. So I don't know why I think like this, but I also using notepads.
Amazing.
A lot, man.
Yeah.
I have the notepads, and then I crumple them up, and my son made me this trophy. So we put it in there. And we crumple it up, and then every day, man, same thing as you.
Yeah.
I write down some key levels, and look, those that sleep will fail, right? I mean, you talk about putting in the work after market, things like that, a half hour. What do you do on the weekend? Do you take some time off? I mean, obviously for family is very important, but do you still look at stocks over the weekend, or do you sort of just like put your mind somewhere else and then get like going Monday morning?
So, I mean, if I was still looking at charts on the weekend, I think my wife would be very unhappy. So I try to really give myself at least Friday night, Saturday, where I don't do any research. But come Sunday evening after supper, once the futures open at 6 p.m. Eastern time, it's right back to the charts. It's right back to figuring out what might be trading. Occasionally, I will look at the Asian Open, and just basically, while I'm doing my research, I'll be looking at the futures on a Sunday evening. But I do try to take Friday, Saturday off. You can't always be obsessing over stocks, especially when the markets are closed. And I mean, I also don't like to get dragged into trading futures on a Sunday evening, but it has happened occasionally. But
we have seen, those crazy moves that happen, going into the session on Monday.
Right.
Let's take it to the next step now. We talked on a general basis how we start the preparation process, how we go into the day, having a plan in general. When it comes to actually narrowing your focus, so you go from, okay, so X, Y, and Z are all doing crazy volume in the pre-market, up 100%. How do you then go to the next level and say, I really like this or this?
Well, again, I find that stocks with similar floats and similar market caps behave somewhat similar. So you do have to figure that out early on before you start trading the stock. They do move in a similar fashion to some extent. I guess for me, I really don't like the stocks that are too thin, because you can end up in very dangerous situations quickly by having too many shares. And if the stock gets very illiquid, that's when losses are exacerbated. And even if you have profits that are tremendous, good luck trying to get out of it, right? Because the minute you post, or the minute you sort of get out in an inefficient way, the price will crumble. And people, once they detect that you're trying to sell and make profit, the price will move. And so I try to, there's obviously new things that happen every day, and it's good to kind of dip your toes in sometimes, but I think if it's a stock that you're not used to, you just reduce the size. And that's always been something that I do. Even me, I do reduce the size. And then once I get comfortable, then I might increase the size. But it's been wild.
Yeah.
So I do try not to get too big and pretend like I'm fully aware of what's going on with a stock that is in play for the first day.
And I want to make sure we get your thoughts on, I think one of the biggest challenges that specifically new traders have is getting to that next level and
Right.
getting to the point where they're able to take more size and
Right.
be comfortable seeing those bigger swings
Right.
on their P&L. Before we do that though, when we get to a point in our preparation and you may narrow it down to one or two, is it a directional type idea where you have, okay, the futures are moving lower, so we have 1, 2, or 3 ideas on the short side, 1, 2, 3 ideas on the long side, or
Right.
how are you directionally focused going into the open?
Well, and as silly as it might sound, I read that stonks only go up. Unfortunately,
I heard some famous guy said that somewhere.
in the back of your mind, you always do have to remember that this market has a tendency to always zap volatility. So it does tend to either flatline
Yeah.
or go up.
Right.
Betting on things to go down has not been very lucrative this year. Now, you still have to be prepared for that, but therefore, it is important whether the markets are green or red or whatnot, but only at the extremes. Like on an extremely negative breadth of a market, you might want to be careful with longs, right? But that doesn't happen very often.
Yeah.
And when it happens, it's very short-lived, as we've all seen. But the moves down tend to be the most violent. Therefore, it is kind of lucrative to be able to capture those down moves. However, it's just the overall direction of the market. You have to always remember that it's always typically flat to up.
Right.
Now, if that changes for whatever reason, we'll see. But the theme of rotation is very much alive and well, and that's been going on for a good 15 months.
And as short term, we're all flat here at the end of the day. As
Yep.
short-term traders,
Yep.
you have to go where the volatility is. And
Correct.
that's why we look at the stocks that are moving around day in and day out. Guys, what are you looking at right now?
I want to come back to American Airlines because Sam, you mentioned something stocks going up in the long run. I want to get your thoughts on when you have a long idea or a bias in a particular stock, because I came into AAL and immediately knew I wanted to trade breakouts, and maybe we'll get into the difference between taking an actual position, working into it, long off support, buying dips, and then specifically a breakout trade. Now.
Right.
I did want a 2060 break. This is a stock I wasn't going to trade in the pre-market for a breakout style, and maybe we'll get your thoughts there too for pre-market trading. But once it broke this 2115, now you'll see it's a little bit of a double top. The market was trying to test those highs. I like the breakout trade here, but anytime you see us get into these, this is get in, get out of the majority of it for that quick little initial push. It's about
Right.
stops getting triggered and then taking advantage of maybe some short sellers getting their backs broken. I've been that guy who has a broken back over this in my day as well. But your thoughts on breakouts versus sort of taking positions throughout the entire day and holding a little bit longer. Where do you lie in terms of style?
Well, I think if with AAL, it was in a relatively tight channel for weeks at a time, and that's also because it did a multiple series of offerings. So I think filtering out through those excess shares over the past few weeks, if you look at because you showed me a chart for one day, if you were to stretch that chart out, you probably see it that you're right. So that one candle up there, I remember that one. That all happened pre-market, which was ridiculous. But I do think that in that situation, when you're getting up to the top of those 3 red candles or whatnot, at any given point, if it penetrates that price, most likely the price will continue to kind of drift higher. Now, whether that's pre-market or during market, it's not that relevant because these price patterns tend to repeat themselves over time, and that's a very good chart that illustrates that. But if you were involved with it the day it did that wild candle to the upside,
Oh goodness.
that one, you typically want to try to, I know this is difficult because even I've had trouble wrapping my head around this. You have to pretend like that never happened.
Yeah.
Because it's not really based on reality, right? Up, down, you can't think, oh, there's buyers up there. That was most likely an event or some kind of situation where, but if you look all the way back, that price where it stopped is somewhat relevant, right? It didn't just stop randomly. Right. And that's what I've noticed also in this market is, things may seem random, they're not random. There's a reason why it went to a certain price, there's a reason why it stopped there, it went back, people were confident defending it all the way up there. But And if you look at the very bottom, what line do you have at the blue line? Is that a 50, 60?
That's a 50 on the daily here.
Yeah, so, okay, you have the 50 daily there. You've noticed it's nice and smooth, but overall, it is getting not too much, but fairly extended from the 50 on the daily. And you're sort of kind of want to make sure that you're not trading this long side on a very, very red day where, and I think AL sort of encompasses part of the reopening trade.
Right.
You don't want to be around AL long in a day where, let's say, the cruise lines are red and the other airlines are red, because whether we like it or not, the airlines are not at full capacity right now. So that's sort of how I would take a look at that specifically.
Yeah, and Sam, just, I want to come back for a very quick second here because you'll see us talk about these key levels, and it's important to double down on this notion that they matter. And look, yes, AAL on that crazy morning, we all saw it turn around off that 31 area, which you go back. Yep. But after that, if you throw away that day and then look to the next bounce off the 50 period, where does it stall out? It goes right back into those June highs, right? So if you don't throw this number away, you're sort of waiting around here on these particular days when it pushes through late February. And you might miss out on a short opportunity because you're looking towards this number that's not going to happen. It's not going to push through that price. So, stocks have memory, traders have memory. These things tend to matter a heck of a lot. I have to do this because I know a lot of people here, and I'm not going to name any names, are interested in your take on the momentum stock. I don't know if you've heard of GameStop. Maybe you have, maybe you haven't.
Yeah.
I had mixed results because I had Sean and I were looking at this break at 158. It was great through the top. And then I wanted a 150 short. I didn't cancel it after the long came in. And when it comes to breakups and breakdowns, talk to us about a failed break and how ugly it can be if you're not fast enough to identify. You talk about when the liquidity goes. So I give back a bunch here when it fails through 150. And then I have to get out at like 53 up. I'm a little quicker on the keys. Maybe I get like a 51. So what are your thoughts on, particularly in GameStop, but also these liquidity or lack of liquidity events?
Okay, so GameStop is sort of an animal of its own, definitely in 2020, 2021. Some of the technical analysis for GameStop, you won't be able to apply traditional technical analysis. There are probably every single trading firm is involved with GameStop in some capacity, whether it's adding liquidity, whether it's trading on the option side, whether it's trying to set up, breakouts, breakdowns, failed breaks. That stock is a little bit more, I'd use the word aggressive. If you do make a mistake on a stock like GameStop, you could wipe your month, you could wipe your year. That's something that I trade that stock very, very, very carefully. I don't think that I know what it's going to do, and I don't try to pretend I do because there are so many people actively trading that stock and much bigger fish than I can ever be. So you have to be mindful of that. The stock is also not trading at a regular valuation metric. So it's not trading at P.
Remotely close to
earnings or anything like that. That doesn't mean it's a short. I've had to learn that also in the past few years, that just because it's at price X does not mean that, oh, well, it should be at this. No, that's not how it works. Momentum's following it, and although sometimes it might look weak, sometimes it does break down on purpose just to flush, and it comes right back up, comes right back down. GameStop's a tough one. It's also a tough one to apply traditional patterns to, simply because it has been a theme. You have billboards with it on in the States. You have people flying airplanes with the GameStop, buy GameStop. So unfortunately, you just kind of have to go with the flow, and just my best advice would be to trade with a reduced size, but never think that because you're at reduced size, you can take a bigger swing on the stock than you normally would with any other stock.
Less is more, and maybe quicker is better.
With the GameStop, you have to be quick.
I want to get your thoughts. One of the common questions that we get on the show, more than anything else, I think, is the struggle that new traders have trying to get to that next level, trying to get to the point where they can support themselves, they can support their families by doing this day in and day out. So two aspects to this. Talk about how important it is to spend the time to get comfortable and understand what it is that works for you, and then talk us through maybe the process or the mental aspect of getting to that next level with size.
Well, there's it's hard to explain, but the psychological aspect of the trading aftermarket is so important to consistently trying to make money day trading. You have to have a strong support base, but also, even though this might seem a little bit bizarre, you do need to have some kind of level of comfort financially. If you're going into work and the loss that you take can cripple you for the week or for the month, you're not going to be able to get to that next level. So it's really a question of accumulating a buffer of sorts and some kind of financial comfort before you can step out. Now, if you go back to me 20 years ago or whatnot, I still adhered to those principles. I was never really trading to take a loss that could be more than I can digest. Right. Because you don't want a bad loss, which will happen. It happens all the time to everybody. Even if you're the best trader in the world, there will be days when there's a series of events that make you have a tremendous loss, and you have to be able to digest it. Yeah. If it takes you several weeks and months to come back from one day's loss, it will have an impact on you, your family, your friends, and it might sort of take away from your growth as a trader. So you have to sort of detach the monetary aspect from the trading aspect, and prices will always move, but you can't have this anger or vengeance or feeling of, oh, okay, well, I got whacked today, so I'm going to come in tomorrow and be extra aggressive. No, it's sort of like it's a slow approach. And I think to get out of any kind of channel, because it is a channel, like the chart Neil showed earlier, you just have to sort of build a bigger buffer, break out slowly, and build a few days of green momentum, and then I find that momentum, even if it's $1 a day, a series of green days, it's much more powerful than one good day. Because the one good day will be difficult to replicate, but if you are always having consistent green days, you just feel better. Right. And you feel like, okay, I have a little bit of an idea of what I'm doing, therefore I can keep coming in and maybe trying new things and new symbols and things of that nature.
No, it's a great point. And I think it's worth reiterating in the sense that if you're seeing what you like on a day in and day out basis and you're able to execute on those ideas day in and day out, the confidence builds. You start to build that momentum, as you said. So great advice, obviously. Sammy's going to stick around, guys. We want to get back into the market a little bit here and talk about what is moving and what you guys are looking at. But I mean, if you guys have any questions for Sammy, we'll be happy to pass them along as well. Sean and Neil.
I got to throw this one down. I'm going to give the fist bump. That's a virtual fist bump to Sam. You're getting a lot of love in this chat, brother. And maybe we'll get into it at some point, but you helped my personal career one time when you visited our office, when I screamed over the largest share position size I ever had. And then the review was, what price do you have? And I mentioned the price, and it was the greatest position ever. And I shouldn't have been panicking and screaming about it, but it was like 10x of anything that I'd ever had. And it was about that calm, even in the midst of chaos, I think that I took away from it. Now, we just talked about breakouts. I got to go back to American Airlines. We talked about that 21.16 double top break. I did hang on to the last little bit of it here, and it's trying to reverse off of this. And I keep doing this, where I should get out of the position if I think it's turning off 2050 and then sort of go through it. But it just went to that 21.5. You had a bit of a push through the top there, and we talk about fail breaks all the time. And if I'm trading something which fundamentally is a bit of a breakout, I'm going to want to make sure I don't get caught on any kind of reversal. Just to double down, because I always want to make sure we're looking at the futures as well. We talked about the NASDAQ and that 12.7. You do see us reversing off of that here. And then if I come over to the ES, because we want to see this as well. The ES looking a little bit stronger, but it's approaching some tops and starting to reverse. So all of those good reasons to get out of that American Airline trade, which I just did. It was a 21.16 breakout. We just got out of the last of it at 21 mid-40s. It's a nice trade, but it was always going to be a shorter duration push here. When it comes to overall market sentiment, the reason why we're looking at the NASDAQ, of course, is if you think about that rotation that's been happening, overall weakness in some of those tech names, some of these high flyers. I think for the bigger pushes down, if you're sitting in some of those longs, looking to see when it rolls over can be a better sentiment play. Also watching Tesla here as it heads back towards 600. Sean, you're a little more active than me. Any trades on right now? Because I'm sitting back. I had that XSPA short, but that's a small cap, which is doing absolutely nothing.
I mean, I'm just sitting back and listening to Sammy there, and it was a good talk. I haven't seen that much. I mean, I think we got to trade with a grain of salt today. I mean, look at the NASDAQ right here, bouncing around, not doing a whole hell of a lot. I mean, we touched the bottom of 12,550, I guess. The bottom hit it twice, then back up, and then we have some upside, momentum slowing down. I'm looking at Palantir. I like this 2450 break. It was as high as they got in the aftermarket on Friday. So 2450 could come through. I'm watching these VWAP touches a couple times down here. So we're looking at that. I'm watching Rocket. A lot of people wanting to know if Sammy has social media. So I don't know if he wants to discuss that. What's up, Brendo?
So I have been off all forms of social media. I don't have anything like that. I tend to trade very privately. I do quite a bit of trading, but I wouldn't have time to actively manage the social media. But perhaps in the future, it might be something I look into. But for the moment, unfortunately, no, I do not.
All right, guys, want to jump in here real quick. Workhorse just halted. A group of U.S. House Democrats introducing a bill to provide Postal Service with $6 billion to buy additional electric vehicles. So, big pop there for Workhorse, guys.
So I think this is definitely something that we need to take on open probably here. Workhorse, a nice little bump up there. This is, of course, a 1 minute chart, so we'll see. It halts at 1673, so it halts all the way up here. Worth it, guys, looking at a 20-minute chart, I guess, of Workhorse here. We'll see if we can't blow that up a little bit. So that's a big move down. Obviously, we know where this comes from. Yeah. This is the USPS choosing Oshkosh instead, all the way down here, 13. I mean, look how much of a bottom. I mean, that held 13, pretty sweet there. Would have been a great opportunity to maybe get long off here, this VWAP. But just to look, we touched 17 a bunch of times already after that news. So a nice little move upside. I'm guessing we're going to open up above 17. So if you do that, then I think you watch out for this 19 top that we've talked about, you know, with AAL there. You talked about, you know, some levels getting taken out and then for significant reasons why they hold. So let's wait to see what this does around 19. But yeah, a good little looker there for Workhorse if you did want to take it off that halt. And for us, man, on Day Trade the World, this is what a halted stock looks like. It goes all gray. It gives you, Neil, you could probably call up NASDAQ Trader. It will show you the reason. We're lucky enough to have Brendo right there dropping that knowledge to us right there. So we'll wait for Workhorse to open back up. Here's Rocket, guys. So we kind of shit the bed on this one. We go long through 25, our best out, only 25.50. We did have a significant amount of shares, so we did take that 50 cents. But then look, like I got those diamond hand eyes again ready to go. And it goes up in the money for me, $2.75. And for some reason, I bat an eye at that. So should have took them all out there, didn't. Now we wait on a VWAP break to the downside. So I'm going to tell you guys right now, I do like Rocket again, breaking through 26 right here. This is just a name where let's see if it holds. It held 23 a bunch of times, even last week. The danger that was last Friday, it holds 23.60. You saw a lot of stocks got blown out. That holds 23.60. Rocket today holds the exact same level again off the open. So I'm pretty comfortable here holding this. Let's build a position if we get back down to 25 and then see what it does back through 24. I mean, look, a stock like Rocket, guys, you got to be able to hold that at least $1, because if I'm chasing dreams, man, dreams can turn into nightmares real quick. So you got to have an out somewhere. So we're going to get back long here, 25 and change, and then take a break of 26. I like that one, just in case, you know, someone tweets something again and Rocket starts to go ham. Yeah,
I mean, just as quickly as it opened back up, I took like a 17, and I'm going to show you guys, we always go to a higher time frame here. I'm talking about Workhorse, 17.10 on the reopen. It opened higher, but I looked at the 15-minute chart, and you had a little bit of a, you had tops here at 1770, tops at 1760. You had one push in through 20. So if it gets through 18, I think that gets you a push into that $20 range. But after it's already gone limit up once on this news, I look at some of those historical prices, and of course, you can see it on the daily chart as well, that 20 that I talked about. That's why I preferred it for a scalp trade. Again, I thought there could be chop, but I could be absolutely wrong about this. We could be at 20, and then we could push through that in no time. At this point, the way I like to play this actionable news is take the scalp if you can. 17.10 to 17.50 was all I was able to get there. So about a 40-cent winner. And if it ever breaks through the top, we do like that 18 through to 20 even. Brendo?
So news like that, breaking news, stock halts, we wait for the reopen. Is that a pure momentum play? You want to see just buying and then you're done?
Well, the fascinating thing about Workhorse is having been involved when it dropped 70 or 60% that one day when they canceled the USPS contract, there are a lot of people short Workhorse. And after reading about that stock a few days after that event, you realize that stock is there's two sides in that stock. So it is sort of a good trading stock because there's people who are betting that it is going to go bankrupt. There's people who are betting that it's going to be the next great thing. On news like that, I would imagine there'll be some kind of positive momentum because quite a few people, even at 14, were saying, oh, it's worthless, it's time to short it. News like this, $6 billion is a lot of money. And so it's the first halt. I mean, typically halts, I think in this case, it might be just one halt. But we've seen in other stocks, obviously, halts usually halt more than once. Yeah. But in this case, I would prefer the long side rather than fading a move like this because sometimes there's more news, and sometimes an analyst makes a comment about how it directly impacts the company, the price. But in that stock particularly, that move was devastating. The original halt from when it was in the 30s down to $13. I mean, that's one of those career enders. If you just put in the wrong price, wrong size. I was actually caught in that on the long side. So I sort of don't like that stock now. I'll try to stay away from it, but
that raises a good point. Talk a little bit about not revenge trading, but when you take a hit on a specific symbol, you almost subconsciously develop a hatred, an underlying hatred for a symbol, regardless of the news or the stock or whatever the company does.
Correct. And even though it sounds a little bit silly, you do eventually develop a relationship with every single individual stock. When stocks do violent moves like that are completely unforgiving, you sort of have to forgive and forget, because you won't be able to. Sometimes these moves, especially when you look at these charts, that move will not replicate in the same way in the future. Yeah. So even if you're positioned perfectly, the odds of you catching the opposite are next to zero. Right. So sometimes you do have to kind of forgive and forget. When I take a very big loss in a stock, I will admit I do sometimes obsess about it for several days and trade it for several days. But I mean, I don't think I've ever replicated a loss on the same symbol 2 days in a row. So either I will trade much smaller, or much more conservative, or a little bit more open-minded to the devastation potential.
And that's a key, being able to still focus on the trade itself and not necessarily
not the anger of you having lost money on a symbol.
You.
Yeah, how much it owes you. Yeah, that is not a good strategy.
Right. Sean, you had something on that?
Well, I was going to say, I probably owe Palantir a bit of money. I'm in love with Palantir as well. And like Sammy just mentioned there, sometimes you just get good reads on a stock. And I think today that happened for me with Palantir. We loaded up downside. And I just want to bring it to everyone's attention. If you're trading right now, it just bounced off 24. So your boy took more there, man, 24.05. Let's just see if that holds. I'm going to give it back down here to 80 or 90. It's a little bit of a, and again, I think Sam could probably talk to this as well. When you put on big shares, you can't give the same stops as maybe you did here. Like when I was trading earlier in the pre-market, that's a small position. These are small positions waiting for this to happen. And then you strike gold when you get filled down here. Yeah. And it's like, wow, okay, that's a great fill. Now let's see if it builds off my levels. Right here, it's 11 o'clock. I think Sam brought it to us, actually. He called it, what was it, the witching hour, which is really from, 11 till 3. I believe, Sam, on our very first, when we just started doing the show, we had you on, and that was something that always stuck in my mind, and that was the trading, the volumes, and sort of the moves that you get, like from now, believe it or not, 11 till about 3, even 3:30 can be very, very questionable. But, okay, here on Palantir, we're going to see if it takes out. We're going to get a little piece off right here if we can get some 13s. And there it is. Bang. We ring the register on some 13. So a nice little out there. We take a smooth 8 cents. I know it's nothing, but we're going to wait to see now what it does on the upside. Get some out at quarters, then work our way back to 50. And there goes Rocket. Let's go, Rocket. So Rocket now to the upside. We told you about taking that 26 break. So again, we were very, very patient with it. We should have took some down here. But again, I have no idea if this is going to continue to fall, guys. So, I mean, right there, that's a decent break out there. I like 26. It bottomed out there. That obviously was some kind of resistance. We'll see it bang, 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 head support, comes down, breaks it, goes down a little bit. So now we have VWAP down here at 25.86, goes right into the money, 25 pennies. But again, with Rocket, we are hoping for a little bit more. So if my downside on Rocket here is probably going to be, let's call it this bottom here. Let's call it 25.50, man. Let's just play off the even 50s. So if we break there, 50 cents to the downside, we'll get out, which means we have to take at least 50 cents worth of risk to the upside. So let's wait for a 26.50 or so break right there. So I do like that trade. We'll use VWAP, and we'll see what happens right now. Rocket, I think it'd be a little prudent to get some out here at the quarters. So we'll do a little bit of that if we can, and then we'll wait about the upside here, hopefully taking out new highs, and let's see what happens around 28 if we're lucky enough to get that print, guys.
We were just talking about prices having history, so Workhorse is coming back heavily. Look, I'm going to show you exactly where I got out, the 1750 area. You can go back to the last sort of push it had through this price, and this is what resistance was after, and that's what we're always talking about. But there's about a million really, really good questions in this chat, Sam, and I'm going to try to get at least one of them. If this is Tim Sweeney, the Tim I know, what's up, brother? But everyone wants to know, what's your take on crypto, just overall maybe, and then if you're trading it, because we see volatility there as well.
So crypto, makes me very sad, mainly because I heard about it in the $5 range. And at the time, I didn't quite understand it and said to myself, you know what? I've made money trading things I understand. I do not understand this, therefore I will not trade it. I regret that decision very much, but it's in a world of its own. I think if you look at the charting of crypto stocks and Ether, Bitcoin, they are very technical. Actually, they're hyper technical, if I could use that word. They do random things, but a lot of times the moves are extremely technical. VWAPs, moving averages, Bollinger Bands. So it is sort of nice that it's in some ways even a little bit more technical than stocks. So if someone's starting out and they want to dabble in crypto, listen, it is what it is. It's a trading instrument. There's a lot of money in it right now. I think the market cap of Bitcoin and all the altcoins are approaching, or I think north of $1 trillion. That's not peanuts. And it's moving every single day. There's opportunities there. I do believe that people have to be careful when they hear of, oh, well, buy this altcoin or that altcoin, and this is going to change the world, and this is going to replace Ethereum. You have to be careful with that, because in any kind of market absent of regulation, there is a lot of opportunity to get scammed and lose a tremendous amount of money before you even realize what's happening. But can you ignore it? No, you can't ignore it. And as a matter of fact, I even look at it every single day, every single night to see where the sentiment is with crypto. If it's neon green, now it doesn't mean that it's neon green, it means the market's going to go up. However, it does mean that there's a considerable population on the planet that thinks, you know what, there's opportunity here, let's buy this. Exactly. It's very rare to see crypto neon green and the market's neon red.
We've seen for the first time, just in the past couple of weeks here, ETFs in relation to this market. What are your thoughts just in general on, I mean, there's obviously, one or two now, but there's going to be more equity-driven ETFs to trade in relation to Bitcoin. What do you think?
Well, the key thing about Bitcoin from my perspective will be no product can last multiple years without eventually having some kind of regulation to some extent, where there's a body that makes sure that there isn't any kind of scams or any sort of illegal activities going on. That hasn't quite happened yet. So the more ETFs you have, the quicker that will start to happen, because it's only inevitable that eventually there will be one ETF which will maybe perhaps calculate things at the wrong way, the wrong price, and a hedge fund's going to target it and then take it down. Once that happens, then all of a sudden you're going to have investigations and things like that. We're not there yet. It's going to get there. It happens to everything, right? The bigger they get, the more ETFs come out, the more there's regulation, because people do not like to lose large amounts of money in very quick periods. However, listen, the money has been flowing to cryptocurrencies, and you have to sort of at least understand how mining works. How do you work? What is a digital wallet? What can I do with it? How can I pay for things with it? Everyone should get at least an understanding of the knowledge, because my lesson, the most important lesson for me, was I learned about something that a small community of very kind of nerdy guys were really passionate about in 2013. And I was like, you know what? I don't understand it, therefore I won't look into it. But that was a mistake. So the one thing I can say about crypto, yes, learn about it. Understand it. You might never use it, but you might use it. And it's not like the knowledge of having traded crypto is going to be a negative thing.
And especially now that we're seeing the Teslas, the PayPals of the world all dabbling and getting into one way or the other involved in this market specifically. Before we let you go, I don't want to keep you too long. I got to ask you about SPACs. This craze that has exploded over 2020 and now coming into 2021. I read over the weekend, there was, I think, 50 SPACs one day last week. And on average, it's been around 5 to 10 SPACs per day.
Per day, yep.
What are your thoughts on SPACs?
I think not to say that, not trying to call the market top, because that's not what I'm trying to say, but I think whenever there's a lot of froth in any market, you start to see a creation or some kind of memes or things like that. SPACs are just that. There are not that many companies on the planet for all of these SPACs to buy out and make a lucrative deal for investors. However, the way the structure works, it is in nobody's disadvantage to have this many. Now, you have to be careful. I mean, I'm sure you guys saw what happened with CCIV,
Yep.
which was sort of devastating.
Churchill, yeah.
Capital. It was very bizarre to study a stock trading at 60 when if you did some due diligence, you realize that this thing most likely, even at the max valuation, will be in the 20s or the 30s. That was one example of how investors not understanding how the SPAC structure works was sort of devastating.
Yeah.
Now, does it mean there's no opportunity there? Absolutely not. There's opportunity there, definitely. You got very brilliant managers who are running these companies, buyout companies, bypassing the regular IPO process. You have to be aware, but it is a little bit like you have to read up on the structure.
Yeah.
You have to read up on who gets the stock. I mean, the promoters on these SPACs end up with a considerable stake in these companies for next to nothing. So that causes dilution. Yeah. Dilution puts pressure on prices. It's a new, even prior to this year, I didn't know what that was. I knew there were some in 2020, 2019, but not like this. Now it's really like, let's just get them all out there and
see what happens.
See what happens. And you have to understand, like if they don't work, they don't buy anything, they just go right back to give the investors the money back. So,
it's why I was just going to mention, in the past week or so where we've seen this kind of inflation worry creep back in, these are the first stocks that are getting hit and just demolished over last week.
And that would make sense because, again, if everything goes back to valuation, you were telling me earlier that GE today is doing some stuff and moving. Everything goes back to valuation to some extent. If you just have a pile of money and there's no asset in it, it is great that it's trading at a 100% premium, but a premium to what?
Right.
So naturally, it will go back to zero premium if there is no premium. And again, if interest rates do start to rise, the savviest of investors will start to shift their money into bonds and other less risky assets. If you're caught in that tailwind, I mean, you're gonna have a bad time
and get hurt, unfortunately.
Yeah.
And that's what we've seen over the past couple of days. Sammy Lawrence,
yes,
an absolute pleasure. Thank you so much for doing this. We
welcome.
appreciate your time and knowledge and experience in the markets. And I mean, whenever you're in town, swing by.
Yes, I will try. In the summertime, I'll probably be around again.
Great stuff.
So,
we look forward to it.
Right.
I hope you guys enjoyed that. I mean, a senior trader here, very experienced, lots of knowledge. Our thanks again to Sammy Lawrence.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Senior trader here at Day Trade the World. Guys, back over to you.
I'm trying to find something. I'll fire off some hot dogs for Sammy. I was looking for the confetti to drop, but thank you so much there, Sammy. And I don't know if you caught this. You talked about GameStop being put everywhere. Here's me and my man. We saw this actually on a train stop right here in Toronto. So you're 100% right, man. People getting billboards in New York City and whatnot. And on that note, guys, here we go again, GameStop, 170, man. This does not stop. The action just keeps on coming. Embarrassing that out, but there's the break, guys. Breaks that high, and now we're going to the moon right here on this one, including also AMC going off 930, going upside. I didn't make any trades during this, but I don't know if you have anything, Neil. I have Rocket, and I have Palantir.
Yeah, I mean, I just had the 175 break there. I mean, like for a momentum play, we talk about these breakouts. You get in, you get out very quickly. I did try to hold a little bit, but it snapped right back in. So it's going to be hard to see because the range is so huge here. I get a couple of bucks. I shouldn't get like $1 and change off that first move, and then barely anything on the last third of the position on the 175 break. It's kind of funny because before we came back, Sean, it was turning around off this 175, and I was sort of saying, oh, I'm probably going to lose money any second now going short through 170. Next thing I know, we're getting along through 175. And again, this comes down to what style of trade do you want to do. You can note here, it's only been 2 breakouts long that have worked for me. I get in, I get out very, very quickly. And something that Sam talked about here, liquidity on this can be very, very slim. If you overtrade or you're position trading it, it can be very, very difficult, especially on the loss side. So even if you have a support level when it goes, you can take monster hits, like if that 70 doesn't hold, and you're basically just averaging along in front of it, that can be $10, $15 without any slippage. So for me, in and out quickly, try to capture what we can. If I'm gonna hold on to something, it's gonna be this XSPA, which, again, I'll just come back to this, and I sort of talked about what I was trying to do here. Shorting into that 205 level. I've done it every single time it's come here, and then when it gets back below VWAP, I take some out in front, and I try to get the rest out in front of this 182 bottom. So working a 10% range on this, a lot easier to do on a small cap, which I will tend to favor. And of course, I get out of GameStop, Sean, and it's over, what, 180? 178, 180 break any second now. You can't seem to stop this thing. I don't really know where the top is going to be today, but if we sniff 200, I wouldn't be surprised, I should say.
No, I think we probably do get to 200. That's for damn sure. Okay, Palantir, though. I can go back to Palantir, right? We bounced off that 24 and a nice little win for us here right now on Palantir. So we'll continue to watch that as that continues to move upside. I still have 24.50 in mind right now. Me and Valeria cracking up over here. I hope you are okay, Valeria. Nikola on the downside. This was a name that, again, Sammy was talking about some SPACs falling apart. Like Nikola touched. How low did Nikola touch there? 14? I think we got as low as 13 and change. Not today, but this was, okay, come on, Nikola, let's go charts. Nikola down here to, charts, let's go. Oh, there it is, 13, yeah, these are these touching points. So I just wanted to bring this up to everybody. December 28th or 29th, Nikola down here 13. Nikola touches 13 on some flushes there. Actually touches 14. The very bottom 13. So, I mean, another beat up name just to the downside. So watch out for Nikola if that can get going today. Up still that 1.8%. Fisker is another name that I'm long, and thank God I'm long this name in the teens. So that's been good. That's had some blowouts as well to the upside, 30 and change. You got a big move up to 39, and then now right back down, man. So a lot of these names you can buy. I just saw BFT is going to be pay safe. We know about that one. This was my best pickup here on Friday. We got some 1270s at the bottom here on BFT. Now it rips to the upside. So just talk the same talk. We do like that one. And Neil, you got out of your GameStop way too early. It looks like.
Oh my goodness.
We're touching 185 right now for GameStop. 177, 178. Let's see if it can hold that level, guys.
Yeah, I mean, short this at your own peril is the best way to think about it, guys. But look, it doesn't really get any better than today because I can't believe we're not even reminding you. Coming up right after the show, we've already had Sammy in here. Fantastic trader. I know you guys love it. He's been a mentor to for I think all of us here. Whenever we get a chance to talk to him, we love sharing that with you. But our Q&A is coming up after the show for all of our members. It's a way for us to give back to you. Ask us anything you want. Arun will be on so we can talk a little bit about the futures because the market be moving these days, and you got to know what levels to play off of if you can at least learn a little bit about it. So get your questions in early because it tends to fill up rather quickly there. We're jumping right from the end of the show. We'll give us time to maybe catch a coffee and take a little bathroom break and then jump into it. Yeah, I got out too early, but look at GameStop. This is 185 on the daily chart, guys. That's a kind of a monster level that we're testing through right here, right now. So GameStop could be halted. I mean, I don't want to say it's going to halt because every time I say it's going to halt, these things don't. But this 185 break could take us to a potential halt into 200, at least how rapid it's going. And once it halts, I would at least think about shorting it, but not till that happens first.
Yeah, so a lot of love over here on GameStop and not so much on Rocket, which leads me to think about this AMC trade right now. AMC looking right now, it takes the game ride. I mean, it rides it all the way up. No problem there. We talked about 950 and why that would be important on AMC. That's hit there a couple times as well. Backside, if you go to the daily chart right here on AMC, we did touch over 950 was a couple spots right here. We closed 950 back on the 3rd of February. Or is that, yeah, that's February. And then also got as high as 10 and stopped there. So we're approaching some more key levels here on GameStop. So let's watch, or sorry, on AMC. So let's take a 950 break here. And again, if we can scalp it, we'll do that. But with GameStop getting ready to halt, I do like that, taking out this high. The high's not 1650. Let's look at 950 right here on AMC. In case that goes, that's a good one, but we're already up 16%. So just be very, very careful with AMC ride to the high side. Already up 16% and just on the back right now of GameStop.
Yeah, I mean, they're carrying it on its back, and the market is trying to roll over here. I mean, like Tesla's back below that 600 level. The NQ starting to come down, but it's hard to get away from the price action you're seeing in GameStop. If it fills, forget about 200, if it fills the entirety of the gap you saw on the daily, you could be talking about like a 210. And I've said it a couple times, I anticipate a halt into that range, if only because of how volatile this got. Could you have just guessed at 195? Yeah, if that's the game you want to play here, but you get run over and then 200 goes, you could be in an upward halt and then you're shorting in front of it. So if the turn happens without it, and this is one of the things about risk management, if a turn like this that you're sort of hoping, if you like short selling, if that happens without you, because it didn't fit your entry parameters or your risk parameters, you better be willing to accept that because otherwise the other end of that gets very, very ugly very, very quick if you're wrong on a short like that. So for me, GameStop, I'm looking for a halt. Maybe that 210 could be it. It's still an upside press. And I kind of wish my look wasn't to do these quick little scalp trades on it today, but That's what my intent was. So I'm going to look like this is going to. There won't be an uglier chart than this in terms of actually managing to make money on the longs and then not having this one. It is what it is. I wanted breakout trades and in and out in a minute, and that's exactly what happened. 200 any second now.
Yep, and we talked about 200 coming, so watch out for that. AMC also through 950, we'll watch it. But right now, Rocket's fading out as well. GE did have some love. Wow, I cannot believe, like, what am I not doing paying attention to this? GE up to 14.25 today. What a nice run that has been on. A couple longs right here, bang, bang. Still holding the long just to see what it does. NASDAQ and the market coming back in. So watch out for this VWAP of 14 even, but wow, I didn't even realize we were all the way up here, so we should have took that into consideration and got some out on the upside of that one. But AMC, GameStop right here, we want to watch that, guys, approaching 200. I know there's a lot of you trading it, so watch out here as that continues to go. Rocket not doing anything. We'll be out of Rocket soon as well. If that does touch down, it's right near this VWAP kill spot, so we're going to be out of that one if it does touch down. So right now, just a couple trades. I mean, it's all the same ones that I've had on pretty much this whole time. NEO trying to make moves as well. PayPal down. So here's NEO making moves right off this bottom spot. I think it's probably worth picking some up as the NASDAQ looking to get going one more time here. So if that does happen, then I think NEO retraces at least back to 38.50, and we'll watch out for some of these bottom picks here, 37.20.
Yeah, and speaking of coming all the way back, just worth noting, Workhorse all the way into VWAP in 1540. Now this breakout did start, so like if you had this one on the breakout, which would have been difficult unless you're a program, unless you're an algo, or you were sitting in it before the news, not quite to break even at that 1470 mark, but getting very, very close to it. That reopen, we talked about going to the higher time frame there. It did make those highs off of last week's tops, and then it's been all retracement since. It might be worth the defense if it gets like $14 or so, but I'd be waiting around for that price. And then GameStop, there it is. There's the actual turn. So, the current, temporary turn here. It did get to 199.93 is what I saw. So if you just simply guessed at 200, fantastic. I threw that number out there. I was looking for a halt and then a post-halt trade to be, that's what worked for me over in eyes. That's what I wanted to see in GameStop. It turns out it was just 200, so the level worked out. But if you determine that you're working off a level, fine. If you determine that you're working off another mechanic, which is looking for a halt and a reopen trade, then you stick to that. Those are your rules. You got to be willing to stick to them, even though it looks like it would have been a good YOLO at that 200 level. I'm going to have missed it. And then now you have to watch for a downside halt if it breaks through 180.
We're still waiting for Rocket to go as well, as Rocket bounces right off that VWAP again there. And now we'll see what it does to the upside here. We've taken out a couple times. Again, the Rocket trade's been pretty good for me. In, and then in again right now. And then we'll just see like our average price, 26.04. Like, I wish this would go, man. It's going to be Rocket is still... Actually, Rocket's my second most, Eyes is my second most, Rocket is actually if I get out of it. So right now, Rocket number 2 on my board, Palantir number 1, Eyes number 3. So, okay, GE, actually, no, GE overtook Eyes. So GE now we're taking another piece out at 10 for a big win there. I did want to check out, this is Cardano here on crypto, $1.12. I actually didn't really want to check that out. You guys have known my thought on that one. I'm going to get more aggressive through 120. Here's Bitcoin right now, 51,000. So Bitcoin does touch as high as 51.2 right there. And then 50,800, the bottom with it. Just, a pretty slow day. Today for crypto, but not slow at all for Rocket right now, as maybe they've switched. So here we go to the upside. I think Rocket probably worth taking some out here on the upside. Let's just do that right now. We'll get some out if we can in the 30s. There it is, 30. Did I get that? No, I did not yet. We're offering 34s. That was us there. We didn't get filled. So we'll wait now to see if we do get filled at 34. But let's take advantage of some of this move upside right now in Rocket and see if this one can go to the top of our board. I don't think anything's going to take out Palantir today. We were really positive with that, and we love the way that moved. So Palantir right now and Rocket. Let's take maybe I have to cross down a little bit here to get out. There we go. So we'll take some out there at 20. Oops, cancel that. We'll take some out at 24 on Rocket. Now let's sit around here, the next breaking spot. So 26.70 or so. We'll see if we get some out. Now we're out of each one of these is actually 10%. So 10, 20, 30, 40% out on Rocket. Let's see if we get the more out. 2670 with only 10 minutes to go, guys.
Yeah, only 10 minutes to go, and wow, what a retracement. Without a halt, of course, on GameStop, you're going to see it break that 180. Now, there was a slight pullback off of, when it tried to break 180 the first time. You did have this chop here, 176, 181. So there is a decent chance that it might make another push to the upside here. I was looking for that halt to the downside. You're not going to see it. I have to come over to American Airlines just very, very quickly, because as the ES tries to push through those highs, if we sort of maintain, this is like 2160, the current high of the day, but if we try to maintain that look of going to the higher time frame, go back to Friday, this top at the morning here, right off the open, and try to get through 2170. You go back the day before, 2180 was a bit of a level. So AAL starting to push into what could be some significant resistance up to the top. And if the market is also at its highs, I'd be very, very careful with your AAL long. I'm out of mine already, but if you guys are looking at that similar breakout style player, holding it from the morning, where there was that pre-market break, AAL going into a key level at 2160s. And if GameStop retests 200, I think there's a decent chance, given that pullback we just saw, it could fail shy of that 200 price. So I'd look for a rollover with that area as cover.
Okay, Rocket, I see you. So we'll spin the money again. There it comes through, man. Rocket right now. We're at the highest spot we've been at all day. Here's just another win for you. And again, this is no averaging in, guys. This is one in. There's the in. There's the in again. Defending this VWAP at that time of about, what was that price? 25.80, something like that. And there's a nice little win to the upside there. And we take some more out. Look, I said I'd wait. So now I think we got to. Now we'll wait for this high, and then we'll see. We'll go long again if it does break back above 27. So there it is again. We did it again, guys. Basically, almost another perfect day. So really happy with the way that's working. And then DraftKings, it normally has those big moves off the open that we like. Not so much today. It just moved down into that 59 area, which was a great support spot there, 59.50, 60 or so. But there it is, taking down, hit 60 again, now going to the upside. DraftKings, unless there's some kind of news, is not really something that we want to play breaking out in the middle of the day. We've done our research on that. And again, go back to what works for you. And DraftKings on breakouts, I don't love it. Maybe a name like Penn, something like that, may be a little bit better for breakouts, but definitely not DraftKings. And then for me anyways, and then AMC, stared. We should have gone short. We were waiting to see what GameStop was going to do, but it's, that 950, man. We talked about why that was key, and it's just turned like off a dime, just like GameStop turned off 200. So a nice little move back to the downside here on AMC. May want to pick some up, but for me, it's got to get back to 870 before we take it serious. Right now, man, GE on board, boom, and Rocket on board, boom, boom, pow.
And going to go back to that I stock because we talked about $10, and this is why you file away some of these prices. On the upward halt, this was low of day, just above 10 even, like 10.15 or so. Of course, after it had a down haul, we got that consolidation short. Had to try it a couple of times before we actually got the win into VWAP. Hasn't moved since. I mean, it had one tiny bounce. Couldn't get back through that 13 even. And this is going to be, look, it's 10 break all day long. I'm going to have it if it breaks 10 even. But you got to pay attention for, and you can call it HFT hour or whatever you want to over this lunchtime. If it holds 10, you do look for that secondary push through. You're not waiting till 15, which is a high day, although I think that's going to be worth it. For a play, I'd be looking at 12.50. As long as 10 is held throughout lunch, look for like a 12.50 break. I am shorting through $10 if it goes, by the way. GME, to come back over to this name, it did push off that 175. Ignore this little wick. Just a little bit of a late dark pool print at 154. Like I said, if it pushes back to the upside, I do think it probably stalls out somewhere shy of that 200. I don't think you're shorting in front of 200 twice. 199.93 was probably that perfect price. If it goes that close, it's likely to break 200, and you're looking at a long break and a further squeeze play on this particular name, which is already squeezed big time. Shorts got broken once. And it could happen again if you see that 200. So I would not be shorting 200. I think you'd look for something in the 190-ish range on consolidation and give yourself a tight stop. That's probably the only safe way to play it.
All right, I was checking out Twitter here, seeing what's going on. Yeah, I can't believe that eyes trade early. We had that one early. That was a big one for us. And then now we're just going to sit back and watch Rocket. I don't have too many other ideas right now. I see Microsoft, a lot of you guys Yeah, you guys stay hydrated. I was gonna ask Sam about that. Make sure you stay hydrated. I have a bunch of coffee. We're done our fruit there as we go. You know what? We were a little impatient with Rocket, but I think we did pretty good. We could have got out numerous times for losers here, but we held it. It was holding this bottom, and this is what I mean by you got to be somewhat specific with what you're trying to do. And then look where my offer, guys, is at 79 right now. The high is 65. Let's see if we get that. And then I think Rocket can get back into the 30s at some point in its not too near future. We saw what GameStop did today. I think there's an opportunity for Rocket. It's Mr. Wiccan's neighborhood, and we all live in it. What's up, bud?
Okay, guys. Sorry about that. I was talking shop. What'd I miss? One headline first, and then we'll look at earnings. Westwater Resources, big pop today, 10+% here. Yeah, they're moving to the New York Stock Exchange. So one of those clean energy names. WWR, if you remember from way back here, we were trading this thing up on that news today. Going to the NYSE for WWR. Let's have a look at what's coming up after market tonight and before the open tomorrow, guys, for earnings.
Yeah, well, okay, so this is the thing. I think Dick's Sporting Goods, a shout out to Robbie over there. Dick's Sporting Goods, I really think that there's a big opportunity because with everybody sitting at home right now, I think that Dick's Sporting Goods has an opportunity to get going again with a lot of people. Like, I know my kids excited to get back into sports. And guess what? A lot of their stuff, their equipment, their clothing is not going to fit. So I'm going to give a big shout out to Dick's there. And we'll see if that can make a move tomorrow. Stitch Fix, a heavily shorted name. I'm not sure as well. And then a big shout out to Jay, who's looking at that Mohawk, which is just another company with a great chart. We'll see what Mohawk can do after market there. Big expectations for that company as well. CPG company over there now listing and selling stuff on Amazon. Mohawk, guys, watch out.
Yeah, I mean, certainly watch out for that. Also, look, you're not going to be able to get away from GameStop. So every time this is going to be in play, we're going to be all over it. And I think this is going to be the trade in the afternoon. Certainly, whether it unwinds from here, we have to pay attention to it. 200, of course, at any point if it breaks, it's going to be squeeze central on GameStop. And then a 175, and ignore this, a 175 breakdown is going to be there. But more importantly, before we get out of here, it is a very, very important national day today. And I think it goes without saying that we should probably talk a little bit more about it. I think you already know what it is, but let's go to Miss V.
Thank you, Neil. And hey, guys, I hope you enjoyed the show. Please don't forget to hit thumbs up. We need just 100 likes to reach 4,000. And double check if you subscribe to our channels. Guys, we're super close to reach 200,000 of subscribers. So please subscribe and let's celebrate together. Join our Q&A right after the show. You can find the link on our Twitter page, on our community page, and on the live chat. And we will see you tomorrow, and happy International Women's Day, everyone.
Absolutely. Happy International Women's Day is certainly an important one. And give shout outs to everybody there. My lovely wife, who might not be watching it, my daughter as well. It's one of these things that we always talk about. There are not enough female traders, but I'll give you one tidbit, at least in my experience, when we bring trainees in on this floor, higher success rate for female traders. So shout out to all of them here, especially the ones that I see in the chat. Of course, GameStop makes the turn right here, right now. You can't even push into 190. Like, is that how it's going to be here? Looking for another push up a little bit higher. We just got to 185, 186 before rolling over. This thing hasn't even broken down towards VWAP, so it's worth noting on volume, this was a 160. You look at this top here in the morning. This was a 165 and change. Then a failed break through that same price. VWAP just above it as well. So if it follows technically, you could catch a little bounce a little even further than we are here. That'd be like a 165 area. GameStop, once again, the flavor of the day. And it's interesting that GameStop is moving, Sean, and then you look at that sort of AMC, whether you want to call it a sympathy play or whatnot, but it's also trying to bounce. So these are moving lockstep, but GameStop certainly the bigger mover. And it's going to be hard to ignore that one. I figure we're going to get a few questions in the Q&A about that stock in particular.
Yeah, probably, and a Q&A coming up as well. Of course, a wonderful International Women's Day. Happy International Women's Day to you, Valeria, and then to my wife, daughter, like I said, mother, grandmother, aunts, everybody that's made such an impact, obviously, to all of our lives one of the more underappreciated probably days. I mean, it should be bigger than this, but it is what it is, and we'll celebrate it here on the show. So, yeah, I don't know what to hit for that. I mean, maybe if there's a celebration or something, I don't know. Just because Valeria's there, we'll do this. Happy International Women's Day. Valeria, you want to give any shout-outs there, Brendo?
I was just thinking, guys, we should have thought of this last week, but we should have done an all-women's Q&A, members Q&A, but maybe for next time. But yeah, absolutely. Happy National Women's Day, guys.
All right. So only 20 seconds left, guys. Make sure you join us. We'll do it one more time. You're going to get automatically rolled into here. So if you're a member, stay tuned. You're going to see us. And it's good, man. It's 45 minutes to an hour. We talk shop. You guys can ask us anything you want, including anything. So whatever. You can ask us about crypto. You can ask us about stocks. You can ask us about our dogs. And I'll have pictures of that for sure if you want to know about that, but mainly trading. So yeah, Rocket and GE, the only ones that we have on, and they've been big ones for me today. And we'll just keep on going. It's a perfect day. We have limited losers, and it's always nice when we end the show at my highest spot of the day with 0 LFT. A big shout out to Samuel Lawrence as well. Thank you for coming through, man. Big shout out. We'll hopefully get him back maybe monthly, even if he remotes in. I think that talk was worth it. Many of you guys loved it, as did we. So thank you to Sam for that.
100%. And 4,000 likes on a day that you get a chance to talk to a trader like Sam. It just feels like it's a little bit short. Should be able to get to that 5,000 mark. I saw someone throw in there that maybe Sean will shave the nice looking beard there. And if you got a good one, you should keep it. Shave the beard if we get to like a 5,000 likes. But before we get out of here, I want to remind everybody, yeah, I'm still licking my chops with that bottle of champagne. So 200,000 subs is a thing that would be really good for us too, because I get thirsty. And every now and then we like to enjoy a little bottle of the bubbly if we can, but not till 200,000 subs. Down the entire line, Miss V, of course, happy International Women's Day to you. My man Sean Katina, I wouldn't shave the beard, but 7,000, I don't know.
Who cares? I don't care. It's not getting it. My wife is in charge, so she's
right?
the boss.
Exactly. That's entirely true there. That's why I don't have any facial hair, never will. Brendan Wickens, fantastic job, and a special shout out and thank you to Sam for coming through and giving so much insight to all of you guys, and I'm sure you enjoyed it. I'm Neil Roberts. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are in the world. This is Trader TV Live. We'll see you in a few minutes at the Q&A. Bye, guys.